Pod Mortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers, free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their multi-award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings, both in person and via Zoom, that were made graciously available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development, Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary Women in Conversation is slated for a September release, and we are looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin, joined as always by my co-hosts, my sister and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from a haunted home on a hill, discussing the 1977 comedy horror film, House. This film was directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi from a screenplay by Chiho Katsura, with the story credited to Chigumi Obayashi. Enlisted to create the next Japanese blockbuster, Obayashi sought guidance from unorthodox sources to craft his memorable and uncompromising directorial debut. A surreal, psychedelic fever dream of a film, House stands tall as a wholly original and remarkable cinematic achievement. Filled to the brim with indelible imagery, fairy tale logic, fancifully frightening scenarios, and endlessly innovative imagination, this film would defy its initially poor critical reception to become a box office hit in Japan, and in the decades since its release, it has been reappraised as a highly influential and international cult classic. This film was suggested to us by friends of the show, Noreen S., Kent Morton, Valerie G., Ben Coons, Jasmine, Murder Stina, Bobby Joe, Katie Face, Gilly Savard, Lisa Misfit, Halisa, Beth Bauer, Jim Portant, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Jason the Ghost, Martin Shaw, TVR, Franklin Badge, Twitchy Witchy Girl, and Jules Sayapina Hunter. We'd like to thank each and every one of them for their continued support of the show, as well as this suggestion. So, House, what were your first impressions on the film?
So I've seen the cover, or like whatever picture, this orange or whatever the hell it is. Animal or what, but anyway, I've seen it before, never knew what the hell it was, but I've only seen it because when I try to look for the other House to see if it's streaming so I can watch it, that
Greatest
one also
film of all time.
right, that one also comes up. So this is a fresh watch. This is curious, you see what it is, what the hell is that, finally we get the chance to watch it. What a crazy ass movie. I'll be honest. I know this is one of those movies, or I'm assuming it's you either love it or hate it. You get into it and you're on for the ride, or you want to get off. I loved a lot of this. This was super fun. This is, yes, comedy horror, not horror comedy, I enjoyed the fuck out of this. Like, I really, really liked this. I can honestly see though as well, if you don't like this, or if you're just watching it and it's like, you know what I mean? Get upset. I get it. I totally get it. But for me, I'm not one. That's not me. So I really liked a lot what was going on here. I liked a lot of the camera work experimental or whatever was going on with it. It for me, there's a peace in the chaos, and it was like, oh, okay. Instead of it being anxiety inducing or like I'm lost, I don't know, whatever. I'm just sitting there and like, huh, all right. Oh, wow. I don't know how it calmed me by everything else being so weird or so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, really enjoyed this.
I had never seen it before either, and we watched it for the show, and I think John Paul and I have seen it twice now. And when we worked on it before, he was in the living room and I was in the bedroom, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, he's either loving this or hating this.
Yes.
There's no in between. I had a great time with it as well. I think that it does have a very heavy, like, comedic tone, but it is also disturbing and dark and creepy, but also funny and a little sad and whimsical. And it really ticks a lot of boxes in a way that shouldn't really gel together, but somehow it does.
Yeah.
I think that the effects in this are insane. They are, you can tell, very experimental, very unorthodox, and just swinging for the fences in such a way where it's like, even there's a lot of stuff in here where you're like, oh, I can tell exactly how they did that. And it only adds
Yeah.
to, just the
Charm.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the charm. It feels, down to their names, like a fairy tale for a lot of it. That's in my notes a lot. Oh, this is a fairy tale. This is a fairy tale. And you're just waiting because there is this like looming something. You're just waiting on the other shoe to drop. And then when it does, and like you were saying, kind of becomes this fucking chaotic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is great. Like, this shouldn't work, but it does. I had a really great time with it as well. And the biggest flaw in it is that it took me so long to watch it. Because all I heard was, oh, that movie's crazy, that movie's wild. And it's like, oh, okay. But then you watch it and you're like, oh, that movie's crazy.
Yeah.
This is what everyone was talking about. But no, yeah, I had a blast. I think that it's very unique. I've never seen anything like this before. And I really, really enjoyed it.
No, I couldn't agree more with both of you. The first time I watched it was, I believe, last year.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen it very similarly to how you had seen it before.
Yeah.
That poster of that orange cat in a lot of like underseen or underappreciated lists.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm eventually going to get around to watching this. And I just never did.
Mm-hmm.
But Jules had covered it on Ujasni Chat with Nikki last January.
Mm-hmm.
And in preparation of that, I was like, I want to finally sit down and watch this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so glad that I did, because it's just one of those films that you watch it, and this is one of my favorite things that does not happen very often, but you're like, I have never seen a film like this before. And there is no other film like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as if you can say, well, give me all the films that remind you of House. And you're like, there is...
No.
It defies labels in a lot of ways, and it really cannot be fit into a box.
Right.
It really is so many things, and that is one of the things that I appreciate most about it. And it is like Nay said, where it's like, when you list all those things, there's no way that this should work.
Yeah.
But somehow it does. There's that humor, there's heart to it. There's a level of tragedy and sadness, but it's also one of the most fun times I've had watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's just, there's never a dull moment with it, and I feel like I appreciate it more the more times that I watch it.
Right.
Like there's something that'll stick out or that you maybe didn't catch the first time because there is so much going on all the time.
Right.
And so, yeah, like you had said, the camera work is very interesting. I love these sets, the look of this house.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the characters. I know that they're very cartoonish.
Tropey.
Yeah.
But there's something about them that really is charming. And something that I always appreciate is whenever a film has like a group of friends at its center.
Yeah.
I love this kind of leaning on each other and helping each other to try to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's from Scooby-Doo as a kid that I just, But I think that it's one of those kind of unforgettable films. Once you've seen it, it leaves its mark on you.
Yeah.
And I can't get over how committed everyone is to it, the cast and the filmmaker, because this is one of those things that it's like you're saying it's either you're in or you're out.
Yeah, and watching it, I did. There was a couple of times that I was like, I bet you guys are just fucking having fun.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't even care. Like I'm sure there was some like, look, we've got to make some money we're wasting on this back or using or whatever, but for the most part, it is just we're having fun making this movie. And you're going to like it or you're not, but this is what it is. And I think it helped a lot because I know how old this movie is, but I'm a B horror guy. I'm a silly bitch. I like, again, what this reminded me of was how crazy and just nonsense Freaked is.
Okay.
It's just, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? And then here you do get those moments of what the fuck am I watching? But it isn't bad. It's I want to know. It's like, I want more of what's happening.
And I think that's something that really works very well for me because if you just want to watch it as this really wild, surreal fever dream, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, there's also a lot of poignant social commentary beneath the surface.
Right.
You got a lot of stuff about the war.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of stuff about the inherent kind of power of femininity and society trying to limit the roles of women and maybe even the punishment that they go through for not adhering to what's expected of them.
Okay.
But it's presented in such a way that these messages are never overbearing
right
or overwhelming. If you want to engage with them, you can. But then also there's a dancing skeleton. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
But one thing I will say is this is kind of a film that needs to be seen to be believed because in a lot of ways it is more of an experience than it is like a narrative feature.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do really want to encourage anyone listening, if you haven't seen it, you definitely should, because it is something that you will not forget. But before we dive into this very, very wild film, I do want to talk about how it came to be. I got a lot of very good information from a variety of sources that I will cite now and reference throughout the episode. These include a featurette called Constructing a House, articles in the Midnight Eye and Criterion, as well as an essay called House, The Handmaidens by Chuck Stevens.
Okay.
So the story of 1977's House actually begins in the early 1960s. At this time, the new wave of Japanese cinema that had sustained box office success in the country and maintained great public interest and intrigue was beginning to falter and wane. Japanese films had long been the forefront of fashion in the country, but in this new age, television began to reign supreme, along with the surge of new Hollywood films that had made their way over from the United States and started dominating the box office. This is especially true in the early 1970s, which will become very important later.
Okay.
But Japanese filmmaker Nobuhiko Obayashi was just beginning his career at this time, having made short films on Super 8 and 16mm since 1956. But with the decline of the Japanese film industry at the time, Obayashi had taken to the burgeoning venue of Japanese event halls, and these were public spaces where young Japanese artists could mix and mingle and share their work together. A lot of artists would utilize these opportunities for networking and meeting with like-minded people outside of the mainstream. And I even read that Obayashi crossed paths with Yoko Ono during this time.
Oh, wow.
But Obayashi would show a lot of his short films in these halls. Not having the funds to finance a full feature, all of his films were actually only about 1 or 2 minutes long max.
Huh.
But it was during this time that advertising executives started attending these events, and they immediately saw an overlap between these short films and commercials, seeing them as short stretches of video that very quickly conveyed story, vibe, and emotion. And so they had asked a lot of these short filmmakers if they would be interested in trying their hand in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only Obayashi, out of all of his peers, who agreed to do so. He had said that he was the only one who didn't see himself as above this kind of work. He had said that many directors declined because they didn't see any level of artistry in advertising. But Obayashi completely disagreed.
Yeah.
And he had said that he wanted to take advantage of the budgets in these advertising companies to finally shoot visuals in a higher quality.
Okay.
That's smart, yeah.
And there was a really cool quote that he had on this featurette where he was kind of talking to his contemporaries at the time, and he said, "It may have no meaning, but being able to show a beautiful blue sky seemed wonderful on an artistic level to me."
Okay.
I thought that was very beautiful.
Yeah.
But years would pass all the way into the 1970s with Obayashi creating over 2,000 commercials in his career. And some of these ads featured celebrities like Ringo Starr, Kirk Douglas, Sophia Loren, and Charles Bronson.
Holy
Damn.
shit.
And interestingly, it was this series of advertisements that featured Charles Bronson that also had a song in them that gained a massive level of popularity in Japan.
Okay.
And so this started to plant a seed in Obayashi's mind very early when it came to the idea of multimedia marketing synergy. And this is something that we will absolutely come back to in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But despite him diving into advertising at this time, Obayashi maintained his love of film and his dream to eventually make his own feature. So, having been a lifelong fan of Akira Kurosawa and Yasujiro Otsu, Obayashi always had this lofty idea that his first feature had to be some kind of masterpiece. And so he had written this epic film called Hanagatami with a co-writer named Chiho Katsura, which he felt would be his magnum opus and his first film. But this film would actually go unproduced until 2017.
Holy shit.
Damn.
So, though his dream did not come true at the time, there was something else cooking behind the scenes that would lead him to his first feature.
Okay.
At this same time that he finished writing Hanagatami with Katsura, my good friend, Steven Allen Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
Not Alan.
We've come so
Yeah.
far.
It's the real success story, I think.
Yeah.
But he had just released Jaws.
Yeah.
And of course, this had become a massive blockbuster, a worldwide hit, including in Tokyo. And a lot of film producers sought to replicate this lightning in a bottle and make their own version of a blockbuster in Japan. So Obayashi was enlisted to write a film that would be as entertaining and as successful as Jaws.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
In the hopes that they could bring younger audiences back to Japanese cinemas.
No fucking pressure.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Just make another Jaws, okay?
How hard could it be? But Obayashi accepted the assignment, and it was only after a very poor brainstorming session with a few colleagues that he decided that he needed to consult someone with a little bit more imagination. And this would be his 10-year-old daughter, Chigumi Obayashi.
Oh.
Okay.
He said that adults can only think about things that they understand, which limits everything to a very boring and very human level. He said that a lot of the conversations he had, it was like, well, Jaws has shark attacks, but what if it was a bear?
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Pause.
Yeah.
I'm going to go talk to my daughter.
You can name it Paws or Claws.
Yeah.
It's a lot of opportunity here. But he said, on the other hand, that children come up with very strange and very mysterious things that can't be explained, noting that the power of cinema isn't in the explainable things, but in the strange and inexplicable. So he asked Chigumi if he had to make a Japanese film, what would be an interesting story? And her first answer was, don't bother. Japanese films are boring.
Oh my God.
But thankfully he persisted. And he asked again, if I had to make a Japanese film, and keep in mind that I can't make a movie like Jaws, what could be equally as exciting? And after some time, an idea finally arrived to Chigumi. It happened whenever she was combing her hair after a bath, and she mentioned offhand to her father that it would be really scary if her reflection reached through the mirror and started to attack her.
Yeah.
And it would.
Yeah.
Obayashi agreed. And it did. It began like this, and it would continue like this for a while, with Chigumi offering various scenarios from her everyday life that would, could, or had frightened her. And so Obayashi started to assemble each of these ideas into his notes, culminating with the very crucial question posed to him by his daughter. What if there was a house that could eat girls? Obayashi loved this idea, but he thought that a house eating girls for no reason is just kind of ridiculous.
Sure.
So this is when he decided to pull from his own life to give some reasoning for this house. Obayashi had grown up in Hiroshima, living through the atomic bomb and the loss of his friends to war.
Jesus.
So through these experiences, Obayashi added not only historical context to this idea, but tragic romance and even a bit of social commentary to accompany these supernatural elements and flesh out the story and the ideas a bit more for the feature.
Okay.
He would then pass off all of his and Chigumi's ideas to Katsura, the screenwriter that he wrote Hanagatami with. They had a shorthand from working with each other previously, and they both shared an encyclopedic knowledge of horror that had been released at the time. Katsura would also inject ideas from a short story that he had read by Walter de la Mare, which featured grandchildren who disappeared one by one as they went to visit their grandmother, which sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah.
But he and Obayashi drew upon fantasy and fairy tale logic as well, thinking of things that were too beautiful or too sweet for a regular film, or things that looked too pretty or too fake, realizing that they could be made acceptable in this film because of the context of what they were trying to make and the atmosphere that they hoped to cultivate. But Katsura finally finishes the script and he hands it in to Obayashi, which ended his involvement in the project, and the pair were doubtful that the film would ever even get made. So Obayashi at this point decided to give the film the English title House, and he claimed that a foreign title for a Japanese film was taboo at the time. And he even claimed that this was the first Japanese film to ever do that.
That is interesting. And I wonder if this was all born from people being bored with Japanese cinema and this like flood of interest in movies like Jaws. If it's like, well, if we give it an American title,
Yeah.
maybe people won't offhand dismiss it because the title's in Japanese.
Right.
It feels like a business tactic too.
Honestly, yeah. It's funny because he does say it like it's this artistic choice, but it
I'm
might,
like,
No, yeah.
you know?
to me, it sounds like a smart business move.
But he also said that back then, projects would spend months in development because studios just didn't have the resources to move forward with them immediately. However, when Obayashi turned in his script for House, he immediately received a call from a Toho executive telling him that he knew he could do it and calling him a regular Spielberg. At this point, the executives at Toho decided to greenlight the film within 3 hours.
Damn.
All right.
I'd be like, damn, I am Spielberg.
Yeah.
So that's the good news.
Of course.
Yeah.
The bad news is that no director wanted to be attached to it. They assumed that it would end their career to helm something so ludicrous.
What?
So this is when Obayashi offered to direct it himself, but because he didn't work for Toho as a contracted director, they wouldn't allow it.
Okay.
So Obayashi decided to get creative, and he asked them, am I allowed to announce that Toho is giving the film the go-ahead? And they said that he could.
Okay.
And so this begins a 2-year campaign launched by Obayashi to finally get this film made. And when I tell you everything that happened, it's wild. Thanks to his 1966 short film Emotion, which had apparently been shown in 60% of Japanese universities, many young creatives had grown up with Obayashi's work, and now most of them in their 30s were in various fields of creative professional work.
Okay.
And so hearing that Obayashi was doing his damnedest to get this film made, they all sought to help him accomplish this goal. So in collaboration with Obayashi, a relentless multimedia blitz was launched. A fashion magazine photo shoot, a manga, a full novelization of the script, a full soundtrack, and even an incredibly successful radio drama was created.
Okay.
And they were all created to put pressure on Toho into officially making the film and hiring Obayashi as the director. And it was the success of that radio drama that finally forced them to relent and officially begin production after 2 years.
God damn.
Well, if you're doing all this, I
Yeah.
guess you can have the job.
You've earned it. Dude.
Yeah.
But they shot the film over 2 months at Toho's sound stages, which apparently at the time sparked a lot of controversy because Obayashi wasn't a salaried employee. But Obayashi developed an incredible rapport with the cast and crew, who were all very energetic and very excited to be helping him make his first feature. Everything that I read described the vibe on set as incredible. And so it really does fit with what you had mentioned before, JP, about you can tell that they were having fun making this.
Yeah.
Because all of them absolutely were.
That's good.
But unfortunately, when all was said and done, despite enjoying the work, most of the crew who worked at Toho regularly thought that they had made something nonsensical. And though they hoped to work with Obayashi again, they were hoping to work on, as they said, something good.
Oh,
And he had this script and he showed it in the featurette, and it's from whenever they were making the film. And a lot of the crew members would sign letters to him, thanking him for working with him and also giving him well wishes for the future. And some of them were saying things like, please make a more memorable masterpiece next time.
What?
Or I can't wait to work with you again, but again, on something good.
this feels such a backhanded comment.
Yeah, this was fun, but it meant nothing.
But it fucking sucks.
But again, we're doing this at the time.
For sure.
The crazy shit that we're being asked to do. If nothing's been done like this, I could see it's like, this is what we're doing.
It's really not a surprise that people were like, I don't know about this.
Similarly, though, the studio also wasn't impressed. And surprisingly, they were disappointed when the film was released and became a huge hit in Japan.
Okay.
What?
Y'all say it's too boring. Now it's too fucking weird. It's the end of Japanese cinema.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, please.
I think they were still stuck in the mind of wanting their Jaws.
Okay.
Well, you're not going to get one.
yeah.
There's one Jaws.
And I think the thing that bothers me the most is that you give Obayashi a task. Bring the youth of Japan back to the cinemas. He did exactly that. He accomplished this goal. He made this film that excited them, brought them back, made a lot of money, but it's almost as if Toho wanted to disown this. It's like they're Dr. Frankenstein and this is their monster.
Right.
Yeah.
But he did exactly what his task was.
He did.
Like, so how about a thank you? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
They did.
The task was nearly impossible, but I just don't be grateful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw an interview with Katsura and he had talked about whenever one of the executives came up to him after it and they were like, I simply did not want to have a hit with this kind of movie.
Ooh.
And it was like 30 or 40 years later that they're doing this interview and Katsura's like, I'm still pissed off about that. And I get that because you did everything right.
Yeah.
But it's because of what it is that the studio isn't into it.
But y'all wanted something different.
I know.
You wanted something from this unorthodox creator. You wanted something that was going to make money and get asses in the seats. And that's exactly what you got.
Yeah.
You should have just been happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They're like, not like that.
Thanks for all this money, though.
Yeah, it's like a monkey's paw wish.
And much like the studio, the critics were not kind either. They either refused to review it, and the ones that did review it, they wrote very small blurbs of what Obayashi said was sometimes even one sentence.
What?
Saying that it was just not anything worth watching, that it was nonsensical, that it made no sense. It's just this thing of not being ready for what it was.
Right.
But thankfully, as time would go on, a lot of these young people that went to see House whenever it was first released fell in love with it. They would grow up, they would become filmmakers and critics in their own right and kind of rewrite the story of what this film was meant to be.
Yeah.
And that was honestly the most important thing to Obayashi, down to including his daughter in the creative process.
Mm-hmm.
He said that this is a filmmaker's film in the classic sense, a film that epitomizes the essence and magic of genuine cinema. It won the hearts of young people, and that is what cinema is all about.
And he's right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, before we devour this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, let's step inside. So the film begins with the production vanity plates, accompanied by bouncing piano chords, rhythmic bass, and uplifting strings. A thin blue square appears in the middle of the frame, and within it, ghostly white letters materialize, a deep voice bellowing the film's title, House. The O in the word house suddenly transforms to that of a mouth, chewing incessantly as a startled scream echoes around us, the jaws of the O spitting out a severed hand before yawning open to reveal its sharp teeth and an ever-watching eyeball at the center of its throat. The letters now drip a blood red, reaching wispily to the edges of their boundary, only to give way to a shot of Gorgeous, played by Kimiko Ikegami, draped in a white robe, framed by lit candles, and the entire scene cast in a ghastly green.
Already with just this title, I was like, I'm in. Because it's like you guys had a lot of ideas for how to open this, and you kind of went with all of them. That's what it feels like.
I was interested.
Yeah.
And that was something that Obayashi had said as well, was because you see it says a movie, House. He had really wanted to put that because it was his first feature and he was excited about it, of course. But he also was saying that, again, this is a cinematic experience and kind of a defensive reaction to the way that Toho was responding to them while they were making it.
Okay.
But Fantasy, played by Kumiko Oba, stands clad in her school uniform, smiling at Gorgeous from behind a camera. Gorgeous, well lit by the flickering flames, begs her friend to hurry up because it's very hot. Fantasy grins, lining up the shot and snapping the photo, her view of Gorgeous flashing an eerie red before swiftly returning to green. Soft piano keys play like a lullaby as Fantasy gives Gorgeous a thumbs up and an enthusiastic okay. The young woman blows out the candles in front of her and removes her covering, the proper lights returning overhead and revealing the two friends to be the only occupants of a large science classroom.
So firstly, she was bang on about the photo op. It was fantastic. But that being the first shot, it was kind of like disarming to pan out and find out that they're just two girls in school, because it looked like this like fantastical with her and like the I don't even know, the drapings and the fire. Plus, I wonder if that's some foreshadowing.
I was going to say.
To later on. But I thought that was pretty funny that the first shot of her, you think it's one thing and then it's like, oh no, it's just two kids fucking around in a classroom taking pictures. Like that's pretty funny.
And it is like this cool thing when you think about the idea of imagination.
Right.
The character of Fantasy too.
Yes.
Like this is how she sees the world and what she's able to conjure up. It's basically Obayashi's kind of appraisal of young people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus their names.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is when I'm like, okay, fairy tale. 'Cause
Right,
I
right.
thought that these were nicknames for each other.
Mhm.
And then as we go on and we learn everybody else's names, it's like, oh no.
No, that's
it's
your
not.
name.
That's, that's my government.
Yeah.
But the frame fills with a blur of the background behind Gorgeous. But when she steps forward, she enters it, the full environment coming into focus. And there are a lot of things like this throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
And you think of it now through the context of how we make films today, and it's a lot easier to do stuff like this. And I really am upset that I didn't find anything really about how they were able to accomplish all these very strange camera tricks,
Right.
because stuff like this is so impressive even today. And I really want to know how it was done.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe it adds to it that we don't.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like to the
Mystery,
mystique of, yeah.
But we spy Gorgeous through vials of colorful liquid as she joins Fantasy at the large window on the other side of the room, grateful for the small breeze blowing in through the cracked open glass. Something else I did notice is that there's a poster on the wall and there's a lot of Japanese writing, but at the bottom it says House Part 2. And I was like, are you teasing?
The second story?
Oh, no. Please, no.
Yes?
Yeah.
But kneeling against the windowsill, Fantasy offers Gorgeous a small towel, and as she dabs the sweat on her face from the heat of the candles, Gorgeous rejoices that summer vacation is finally here. Fantasy admits her envy for Gorgeous. Her fabulous dad has a villa where she'll get to spend her summer. But Gorgeous reminds her friend that she gets to go to a training camp with all of their other friends. Fantasy acknowledges this, but wishes that Gorgeous could join them all, because it's gonna be so boring. Gorgeous just chuckles, warning Fantasy not to be greedy, and reminding her that a Mr. Togo, Fantasy's love, will be going to the training camp too. Fantasy replies that that's mean, snarking, and you call yourself my best friend? The pair share a laugh, but when the school bell rings outside, Gorgeous suggests that they head into the hall. And as they depart, the frame remains frozen, their smiling faces fading away as we find them once again at the center of a long corridor. Gorgeous, still dabbing her forehead, wonders why Fantasy was staring at her earlier instead of just taking the photo. Fantasy just collects a poster from the wall, folding it up as she answers, "Because you looked like a witch in a horror movie." Gorgeous laughs out loud as Fantasy insists that it's true, the model bowing to her photographer and stating that she's being fantastic, as usual. And as this film continues, I don't think you are. I think that you're...
Yeah.
Fantasy sarcastically retorts that there will be no more photos for Gorgeous then. But the girls are promptly interrupted by Teacher, played by Fumi Don. They greet their teacher joyfully, and the teacher asks how the photos turned out and what their plans are for summer vacation. Gorgeous shares that she's going to Kurosawa with her father. Teacher walks with the girls down the hall as Gorgeous continues that her father will be returning from Italy tomorrow. And when asked about her plans, Fantasy beams that she and her friends will be going to Mr. Togo's sister's inn together. Teacher then smiles, removing the hat from her head to fan herself with it. But when Gorgeous offers her congratulations, Teacher responds with puzzlement. As it turns out, the girls have heard from Mr. Togo that Teacher is getting married over the summer vacation, and they're interested to know more about her betrothed. Teacher walks with them silently, picking her words carefully as the girls spout their certainty that Teacher is surely getting married for love. But Teacher admits that actually, it's an arranged marriage, and she then suggests that the girls rush off to class. As they lock arms, skipping and smiling down the hall, Teacher watches them wistfully, smiling to herself. How nice. Summer vacation.
I kind of miss summer break too.
We all would appreciate a little bit of any kind of a break would be nice, really.
No, literally. Reflecting on this scene, having seen the whole film, I'm like curious contextually what, like, are we kind of talking about different kinds of marriages or different kinds of love? Because I don't think this is for no reason.
No.
Because I mean, I feel like while this film gets very, like I said, whimsical and fantastical and over the top and, you know, almost disorienting with how, you know, wild it gets visually at times. At its core, this story is very simple. Like it is like a fairy tale, like a story that almost you would tell a kid.
Right.
So it makes me feel like this is not for no reason, this conversation.
Yeah.
I kind of got maybe two things from it.
Okay.
The first one is maybe the idealized version of love that these young girls have and hope for their future.
And she's just like, oh no, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then there's also this moment of wanting to recapture what these girls currently have as an older adult.
Okay.
And I think that is a theme that becomes really prevalent later.
For sure.
In a much more frightening way.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to kind of start talking about those things now in a way that feels like a throwaway.
Yeah, because it does. Because they are just, we know that they're friends, they're going along, they're hanging out, whatever. Then we meet the teacher, and then it is that the question comes, and then she's like, "No, it's arranged."
Yeah, because we're talking about arranged marriages here, and then we are introduced to another kind of, you know, proposed marriage very soon.
Yeah,
and then there's another kind of, you know, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But it's just like, okay, are we like just exploring or like the juxtaposition of these things, or like, I don't know, because honestly, this gets so wild. I fucking forgot about this. I totally watched it this morning.
That's fair. But we then get a very, that's all, folks, style wipe. And if you like that wipe, I have a film.
Yes.
But we return to Gorgeous and Fantasy outside together on the school grounds, the pair prancing blissfully down a set of stairs. They embrace each other at the bottom of the steps, surrounded by lush greenery, and as the camera swirls around them, Fantasy finally relents that she will, in fact, give Gorgeous all the photos that she took of her today, and Gorgeous expresses her gratitude. As Fantasy's friends call out to her from a distance, Gorgeous bids her a goodbye with a soft and sweet nose-to-nose kiss. Fantasy tilts her head as she watches Gorgeous rush off for her home, the world bathed in an orange glow as Gorgeous's name echoes in her mind. But Gorgeous arrives home, opening the front door and immediately spying Kogarashi, her father, played by Saho Sasazawa, who stands beyond the glass door at the balcony. The fading light of sunset shines a cascade of colors through the clouds behind Kogarashi as Gorgeous races through the living room to greet him, only to be scooped up right into his waiting arms. As he sways her soothingly, Gorgeous expresses her surprise that she thought she would see him tomorrow, not tonight. She asks how the movie job in Italy went, and Kogarashi humble brags that Leone said that his music was even better than Morricone's.
God damn.
He's the real deal.
Yeah.
But Kogarashi sets Gorgeous down onto her feet, commenting that she's grown since he last saw her. Gorgeous jokes, "You too," as she places her hands onto his belly. The camera pans past the glass of the balcony door, warping and distorting our view of their reunion, as Gorgeous settles into a woven and sunlit swing, asking her father if he brought her a souvenir. But Kogarashi doesn't answer, and instead just picks up a small putter, lining up a shot on a small strip of green in front of him. Responding to his silence, Gorgeous calls out to her father, "Please don't tell me we can't go to Kurosawa." And after Kogarashi knocks a small white golf ball forward, he returns to his daughter, assuring her that they can still go, but they'll have a companion. An excited Gorgeous wonders who this companion could be, but Kogarashi appears stern and serious, reaching his hand nervously into his vest pockets as he beckons to an unseen stranger. "Come out, will you?" Serene strings sing as the wind whips by, jostling sheer curtains that obscure our view of Ryoko Emma, played by Haruko Wanabuchi. Ryoko glides angelic across the balcony, her her thin white scarf catching the breeze as she smiles brightly at Gorgeous, passing through the fractured pattern of windows to join the father and daughter.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
She's an android or some shit. Like, I don't know how you're gliding across my floor, but...
She ate down with that scarf, though.
Yeah. Well,
it's everything.
that too. The wind is obeying too much. I don't...
One thing about that scarf, it's going to catch wind. That's just...
That's why you wear it.
But again, you see this and you start thinking fairy tales and you're like, evil stepmother?
Yes.
For sure.
You know?
Yes.
Also, it's like, dude, this has got to be a difficult thing to do, but this is exactly how you don't do it.
No.
Yeah, that was wild.
What the hell? He's been gone this whole time. He finally comes back, and yeah, we're going to take that vacation that we've been looking forward to, but check this out.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Ryoko offers a gentle hand to Gorgeous, suggesting that she shake it, which the young woman does, rising slowly out of her seat, somewhat confused. She asks her father, "This is her?" And Kogarashi confirms this, introducing Ryoko properly to his daughter. Gorgeous gushes that Ryoko is beautiful, the woman warmly accepting her compliment. And with her long white dress flowing in the evening air, Ryoko reaches for her scarf, removing it to place around Gorgeous's neck as she kindly replies, "You're charming when you smile. Let's be friends."
Too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah.
You have to work up to giving a scarf away?
Yeah. Well, maybe not. I would probably take that.
It's a great scarf.
But we're being too familiar. We're being too
Oh,
familiar.
yeah.
Kogarashi expresses his hope that the two of them will get along, and as we press in through the glass, he declares very matter-of-fact to his daughter that Ryoko is going to be her mom. Gorgeous responds in shock. "My mom?" We watch as memories of the preceding moments replay in her mind, accompanied by Ryoko's small chuckle. Kogarashi admits that he wanted to tell her earlier, and as he smokes his pipe, we follow him through the disorienting glass. He paces, finally returning to the two of them, continuing that Ryoko is a jewelry designer, and that she's surprisingly good at cooking and other things, too. His dismayed daughter in front of him now, Kogarashi adds that she won't have to mend his shirts anymore. This to me is so fucking wild because Kogarashi is presenting this like that's her biggest worry.
Yeah, he's like, dude, it's fine.
Yeah.
Chill out.
I have someone for that now, which is also pretty disrespectful to Ryoko.
Yeah.
But we flash back to sometime in the past, the pair on the patio together, as Gorgeous diligently repairs the sleeve of Kogarashi's shawl cardigan. But back in the present day, Ryoko politely scolds that Kogarashi shouldn't have said that she's surprisingly good at these things. But Gorgeous is still caught between this lighthearted memory and this heartbreaking reality, as Kogarashi bids her to listen. He reminds her that it's been 8 years since her mother died. He clutches her shoulders, suggesting that it's about time they had a home again. This is the line for Gorgeous, who pulls away from her father, declaring that she will not go with them to Karazawa. The score hums a solemn song as Gorgeous races back inside, but not before tearing Ryoko's scarf from her neck and hurling it over the railing of the balcony, where its slow descent is given its very own and very dramatic picture-in-picture.
It deserved it.
It did. I was just astounded. Like, every single thing Kogarashi is saying is the wrong fucking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But Gorgeous retreats to her bedroom, closing the door behind her and sighing deeply within her own personal sanctuary. Pale purple light is cast through her bedroom window, illuminating the large gray roses that decorate the wallpaper all around her.
I love that wallpaper.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful set.
Yeah.
She presses the keys of a small piano parked in the corner of her room, 4 notes ringing out as she stands all alone at the center of it. She glances around for a moment before suddenly spinning in a circle, a cartoonish squeal sounding as we're transported into the next day, Gorgeous trading her school uniform for a purple floral dress as she basks in the morning sunlight through her window. She crosses over to a small desk on the other side of her room, clutching a small stem of white flowers as she reaches for a framed black and white photograph of her mother, as well as the small wooden memory box that it sits on top of. She takes a cross-legged seat on the carpet of her bedroom, staring sentimentally into the picture on the other side of the glass, stating softly, "I'm back, Mom." She then retires to her bed, the photograph now resting on her pillow, as she confides to her mother, "Dad's disappointed in us, Mom."
I didn't understand this.
I don't think that's true exactly.
Yeah.
You're disappointed in your father.
Yeah. I mean, 8 years have passed, right?
Yeah, but yeah. I don't understand. You can still have a home. I think that's the line that he said that's still sticking with me. That's like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
But Gorgeous lifts open the lid of the memory box, sifting through its contents, and is soon surrounded by a scattering of photographs that now blanket her bed. The lullaby-like piano returns in the score as she peruses pictures of the recent past, all in full color. Her father wrapping his arms around her as they both clutch an award from school, Gorgeous recalling that Kogarashi even cried when she won at the sports meet. She chuckles as she reminisces their past travels, shared meals, various experiences and adventures, just the two of them, father and daughter. But she then begins to take a marker to these photographs, crossing out and drawing over the face of her father, whispering that she'll bully him. She hates him.
God damn, dude.
I know.
It took a turn.
Yeah.
But somewhere within the stack, she finds pictures from even longer ago. These photos in black and white, back when her mother, also played by Kumiko Ikegami, was still with them. Young Gorgeous rests in her high chair, all smiles next to her mother at the dining room table, fed by her mother's caring hand. We then see the pair traipsing through the trees and playing in the muted fields. But Gorgeous then discovers another picture of her mother, dressed beautifully in her bridal gown, a white wedding kimono, the photo flickering to life as she sits properly posed beneath a bright banner. But behind her, at her shoulder, stands Gorgeous's auntie, played by Yoko Minamata. She clutches a furry white cat to the breast of her black dress and offers the camera a bright smile. After inspecting the photograph, Gorgeous wonders how her auntie is doing these days. But we suddenly cut to the next day at school, where rising from their reflections in a fountain, we discover the full friend group minus Gorgeous, all jubilant and jolly as they rush from the fountain's edge and over to a nearby bench in the school's courtyard.
It was a little weird going from being sad and going through some shit to we're happy and we're at Patty's Pub getting blasted in the mouth. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was jarring.
Yeah.
We pan across them as they chat together about their upcoming summer vacation. Prof, played by Ai Matsubara in her pigtails and small eyeglasses. Mac, played by Miko Sato, stuffing her face with a pack of snacks. Fantasy, who we've already met, blowing bubbles to float around her friends. And Melody, played by Eriko Tanaka, who clutches and strums a white acoustic guitar. Prof rejoices that their trip is almost here, the six of them vacationing together by the sea. And when Fantasy laments that Gorgeous won't be joining them and instead will be going to Karazawa with her father, Melody changes the subject, assuming that Fantasy must be super excited to be able to spend time with Mr. Togo for 10 whole days. It's like, everybody, this is the worst kept secret. Fantasy gushes that he's so handsome and manly. But Kung Fu, played by Miki Jinbo, questions, handsome and manly? And before the other girls can respond, Kung Fu leaps onto the seat of the bench, bashing away a ball that was sailing right for the girls with one swift chop. Sweet, played by Masayo Miyako, beams, "You're so cool, Kung Fu," boasting to her friends that Kung Fu is even more manly than Mr. Togo. So this is the entire friend group with Gorgeous included. It makes 7 girls.
Yeah.
And Obayashi said that a group of 7 is ideal. and it's even something that is traditional in Japan.
Okay.
He mentioned Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, and even said that during the war, men were placed into 7-man work teams. He also said that whenever it was very early in the writing process is when he came up with the names for each of these girls.
Okay.
And so whenever he gave all of the information and ideas from himself and his daughter to Katsura, he had a really easy time just writing their personalities based on their nicknames. He said, and I understand like a lot of what comes later, he said was a lot like Alice in Wonderland, but this is very Snow White to me.
Okay.
Well, yeah, with their names matching their personalities for sure.
And I will say a lot of the actresses do not have pictures on IMDb.
Yes.
And so starting to name everyone and give proper credits was difficult. And I thought that Mac would be sweet because she's eating a lot of sweets.
Sweets, yeah.
Yes.
But whenever she was like, something, Mac, I'm like, well, I have no idea. And I appreciate how each of them kind of fits their character almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like you see Prof is wearing these glasses. And you're like,
yeah. No, it's the tropes are all present and accounted for.
Yeah. And we'll learn why Mac is called Mac. I was like, when did McDonald's come to Japan? And I was doing all this research and I was like, well, 1971, this is 1977. Maybe she's named after the Big Mac. She is not.
Yeah. No.
I thought it was interesting. Obayashi had said that in the 2 years between it being greenlit and actually starting to make the film, he said that he had done over 200 commercials in that 2-year span. And one by one, he met the women that he thought would be perfect for each of these roles. And he would tell them when they were doing the commercial, I'm going to call you when we start doing this. And he did. They all were just in his commercials. None of them were actresses except for Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's honestly hard to believe because they are just so, first of all, their chemistry.
Yes.
And
yeah.
their performances are actually really good.
They really are. And he said that none of them were actresses, and even Gorgeous had just started acting professionally. So they were all amateurs. And I mean, maybe that even lends itself to some of what we get.
Maybe, but to me, they show up.
Yeah. Well, it's just very unpretentious. It's just they're really in it. Like they're really just throwing themselves into it. So, I mean, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But as the camera darts from girl to girl, Melody recalls Kaisuke Togo, noting that if there's anything cool about him, it's his name, right, Prof? Prof, poking her head out from a book, just urges Melody to stop teasing fantasy. She's a dreamer. That's her biggest asset. Sweet apologizes on behalf of the group, which Fantasy accepts, but Mac, munching a cookie, just hopes that Togo's sister is a good cook. Fantasy wonders, you want to get fatter, Mac? She's not sweet. That's another girl.
Right.
Yeah.
But Mac just counters. Don't make me hit you. Kung Fu just tells her friends to stop it, suggesting that they'll all have a fun time together at the training camp. And Melody jokes, listen to you. You sound like a coach. The camera pulls back as the 6 girls share a laugh, but the shot narrows into an iris, centering on Gorgeous, who stands at the entrance of the school with her belongings clutched in front of her. Her friends bid her a good morning, and we jump cut to find her right next to them. They ask her if her father has finally returned from Italy, cheering that Gorgeous's father is the best. He's a rich film composer. But Gorgeous counters, no, he's the worst. But before she can explain why, Mr. Kaisuke Togo, played by Kiyohiko Ozaki, pulls up in a dune buggy, honking his horn and calling out to the girls. But as he parks right in front of the bench and climbs out of the vehicle, he shares that he has some bad news. His sister is going to be having a baby, so her inn won't be open this summer. He had 9 fucking months.
That.
Unbelievable.
I understand a baby is an important thing, but that stops the whole thing? Like, were you guys not running if something else? I mean, is there not anybody else to help run this place?
It's his sister's end. She's like, I do everything.
I'm
yeah, she
done.
does
Yeah, I'm out.
everything.
But why wouldn't he know before today?
Yeah.
It's been a tense 9 months. He's like, maybe she'll have it sooner. I was a month early personally, so I mean, I don't know.
We'll see.
It's like, it'll all work out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But the group groans in disappointment, Prof wondering if that means they won't be able to go to the training camp at all this summer, and Togo confirms this. But we then settle on Gorgeous, who rests alone in an iris shot, an idea seeming to find her as her friends hassle Togo, telling him to do something because it's all his fault.
I mean, it is.
But Fantasy defends Togo, earning the lively laughter of her friends, who assumed that she would do just that. But Togo switches topics, pointing to a diagram of a flower that Prof holds in her hand, asking, "Is that the pistil in the stamen?" The girls react in confusion. And I'm sure that means something because these are the reproductive parts of a flower.
Well, his sister's having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
But Gorgeous steps forward, interrupting the proceedings and suggesting that her friends should just come with her, but not to Kurosawa, rather to her late mother's hometown, to her aunt's house. Gorgeous is suddenly surrounded in greenery as she poses this possibility to her peers, but we soon center on a bright lamp hanging above the frame of Gorgeous's bed in her room at home. We glide from its dim light and over to her desk, where Gorgeous sits, composing a letter to her aunt. She explains, "That's how I invited them to your house, Auntie. Forgive my sudden letter. I realize I only met you once. I hope you don't think I'm strange. I'm in such a good mood, I feel like crying. I want to see my mom's hometown again and spend time with you like I did with her. Please write back that I can visit you."
I mean, please,
Yeah.
because I've already invited 6 people.
I'm going to look like Mr. Togo if you don't. A photograph of her mother rests in front of her, the shot superimposed over Gorgeous's face, highlighting their surprising similarity. And they, as I said earlier, they're played by the same actress, so
Right.
It's uncanny.
Yeah.
But suddenly, through her window, walks an adorably fluffy white cat who knocks over the framed picture. Gorgeous scoops the cat into her arms, cradling her and wondering where she could have come from. This is a wonderful moment for anybody if a cat just walks into your house and you get to play with it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is really peculiar, and nobody seems to appreciate how peculiar this cat is until it's way too late.
Yeah. I mean, part of me gets it, though, because you don't look a gift cat in the Meowth.
I swear to God. You've disappointed him, but I was literally working my way to the exact same joke, and I can't believe you just did that.
Oh, you're welcome, John Paul.
But the next morning arrives, a voice calling Gorgeous's name as she exits her apartment and races through the courtyard in her school uniform. She bids goodbye to some unknown and uncredited baby who rests in a stroller, unsupervised, which is really odd. And we never come back to this baby. But I did notice that there are 3 balloons that are tied to the handlebar of the stroller.
Okay.
2 yellow and 1 red, which in color theory, caution and danger.
Okay.
But Gorgeous eagerly rushes down the steps for the mailbox, disappointed when she finds it to be empty. But when she returns home later that day, in the golden light of the evening, a letter sticks out from the mailbox. And atop the mailbox rests that cute but curious white cat. Gorgeous gathers the cat into her arms, who we learn is named Blanche. And with a smile, Gorgeous notices the mail sticking out of the box. It's a letter from her aunt. Auntie's voice reads, "You're welcome to come. Your aunt has been waiting for your letter for years. Come see me. Come to my house, Gorgeous."
Well, that's a relief.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I will say, though, by this time, I am like all the silly shit, all the whatever that's gone on. I'm enjoying, like, I'm sitting here, like, I'm enjoying this.
You're along for the ride.
Yeah.
But her voice echoes as Gorgeous clutches Blanche to her, shining a bright and hopeful smile. But out on the balcony, Kogarashi stands with his back to the railing, glancing over to Ryoko, who rests in Gorgeous's swing. I guess they've just been here for the past 2 days. I don't know. But seemingly after they've learned of Gorgeous's summer plans, Kogarashi apologizes to Ryoko, realizing that she took all this time off for nothing. Ryoko assures him that it's all right, but Kogarashi then suggests that the two of them could go to Kurosawa without Gorgeous, just the two of them. He supposes that he's been spoiling Gorgeous, but Ryoko promises him again that it's all right. Rising from her seat, she suggests another idea. She could go to Gorgeous's aunt's house later on.
Yeah, I don't know.
She turns toward the glass patio door and crosses her scarf over her shoulder, telling him that she really wants to talk to Gorgeous alone. She assures him that it'll be all right and recognizes this as her first trial in becoming Gorgeous's mother. Ryoko promises to bring Gorgeous back home, her and her wonderful, mysterious smile. As the camera presses in on them, Kogarashi thanks Ryoko, and with the sun shining all around her, a wind whips up, blowing her scarf in a light breeze. Ryoko is resigned to her role, admitting that she needs some time to think things over in the countryside. But Gorgeous stands outside, cuddling the meowing Blanche beneath the sprawling sunset, breathing one word into the early evening. Auntie. But the following morning, a jolly tune sounds in the score as we settle outside of a shoe shop, where Shoe Store Man, played by Katsuo Satsuya, and Shoe Store Girl, played by Chigumi Obayashi. I was like, that's adorable.
That's cute.
They sit together, working rhythmically, as a random passerby, played by Greg Painter, bids them a good morning.
Obayashi also said that the shoe shining man is the production designer.
That's so cool.
He said that he really was just making a film with his friends in it.
You love to see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But on the floor above, Togo awakens, stepping out onto his balcony and stretching in the sunlight, greeting his upstairs neighbor with a good morning before bailing for a long set of stairs with a duffel bag over his shoulder. But when he reaches the bottom of the first set of steps, he suddenly stops so as not to step on Blanche, who crosses right in front of him. He immediately loses his footing, sliding down the remaining stairs with a cartoonish cry, tumbling over until his butt lands inside of a small bucket.
Be so fucking for real right now.
I know.
This whole time it's like fairy tale vibes. And then in this scene in particular, and then a couple things that happen after it, it feels like a kid's TV show.
Fair.
I was going to say this feels very cartoon.
Yeah, like even the sets, the costumes, the dancing, the over the top fall. Like I'm like, this is like something you would watch like some fever dream when you're 4 years old, and then you remember as an adult and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You remember the banana splits? I don't know why it put me in the mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where you're like, what the hell?
But Togo is sent sailing and spinning, shouting out that the bucket is stuck. This continues for quite a while. The bucket has a mind of its own.
Yeah.
But we wipe right out of that and find the group of girls standing outside of Tokyo Station, towering buildings stretched high into the surrounding sky. And as you would guess, this is almost entirely a matte painting.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I have in my notes, this may be the first time I will not be surprised to learn that this is a matte painting.
And this was something really interesting to me because Obayashi mentioned, he's like, we had all of Toho at our disposal. We could have gotten the people that are working currently on Godzilla to do all of these things and make it look super realistic.
Yeah.
He's like, but that's not what we're going for.
Yeah.
It's a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels like it.
I think that's why it's so disappointing when he talked about contemporary criticism and they're like, this looks terrible. He's like, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the way that it's done, it has to be that way.
Yeah.
It all has to be that way. We don't get this real beautiful sunset, but then later there's like fucking colored lines coming off of you.
Yeah.
But the girls wonder where Gorgeous and Mr. Togo are, as it's almost 8 a.m. and they're going to miss the train. They even take to a payphone to give him a call, and we find Mr. Togo on the telephone just outside of the shoe shop, the bucket still sealed firmly on his bottom. He explains, "No, it's not serious, but I do have to go to the hospital first."
Hospital.
He learns that there won't be any more buses today and suggests that he can just take his car instead. He hangs up the phone, and we watch as a little boy follows him, playing the bucket like a drum with the help of 2 sticks.
Insult to injury, really.
But back at the station, the girls mingle with the members of Go Die Go, the band who composed the score for this film.
Oh,
Hey.
that's cool.
When the girls suppose that Gorgeous might already be inside waiting for them, they bid goodbye to the band members, who clap for them and wave, standing against a small backdrop of the sky and singing the song that is currently playing in the background.
That's hilarious.
When the group climbs the steps, they find Gorgeous already waiting for them at the platform, calling out to her, and as they gather onto the arriving train, Gorgeous apologizes, noting that she was late because she's been looking for Blanche all morning. Prof asks, "Who's Blanche?"
And rightfully so.
Yeah. What the fuck?
She doesn't receive an answer, but we watch as Sweet pulls Mac inside of the train just before the doors close, the girl holding a large paper bag filled with snacks for the trip. But on the platform stands a husband, played by Nobuhiko Obayashi, passing a small bouquet to his wife, played by Kyoko Obayashi, just as the barrier slides shut between them.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
The whole family gets to be in the film.
Yeah.
As Mac itemizes her groceries, chocolate, candy, bread, love, and dreams, the married couple offers a tender goodbye through the window. But in the aisle, the girls find their seats, settling into them, but when Gorgeous reaches hers, she discovers Blanche already sitting in it. She scoops the cat up into her arms, relieved to have found her, but not at all curious as to how she got there.
Yeah.
Well, Blanche has had a busy morning. She had to derail Mr. Togo
Yes.
first.
And then she bought that train ticket. And then something interesting as well, we see a guy that's sitting next to Blanche, and he's reading a horror magazine with Frankenstein on the front.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster, I'm sorry.
Right.
But he is Chiho Kasura, the screenwriter of the film.
Okay.
So everybody.
Yeah. But we then hover over a young, uncredited boy and his mother, the child reading a picture book with vibrant illustrations. He reads, "The train runs through town with dreams on board, speeding into the landscape." And we are soon transported into the book's pages, watching as the illustration suddenly animates, carrying the girls past the tall buildings of Tokyo and into the countryside. The first thing I thought was, take a look, it's in a book, and then we literally see a rainbow. I was like, all right. But Fantasy snaps a few photographs of the scenery as they pass, before turning her attention to Mac, who's double fisting a pair of burgers. She admits that Mac's appetite amazes her, but Mac can only mutter muffled through her chewing. "It means I'm healthy. You can't even imagine the hunger pangs I feel." But she kneels down next to Gorgeous, commenting how cute Blanche is. And as Gorgeous pets the cat in her lap, Prof leans over, commenting that any old cat can open a door, but only a witch cat can close a door. I don't know if this is a real saying or an understood belief,
Right.
but it's very convenient for how...
It is.
But Blanche just meows, looking around somewhat shiftily as the girls burst into laughter. She's like, she's onto me, dude.
Yeah.
But all the girls lean forward curiously, asking Gorgeous plenty of questions about where they're going. Can you tell us where you're from? What's your aunt like? The camera pulls back, the girls suddenly surrounded by the green landscape through their window, as Gorgeous explains that her aunt and her mom loved each other very much and were very close. But she admits that she's only visited her aunt one time, back when she was 6 years old, and she hasn't seen her since. Lights flash all around her, and a film reel is suddenly unrolled before us, white text painted across the sepia-toned strips of old military airplanes. 1941. The war continues. Gorgeous continues that a long time ago, Japan was in a big war. We spy the front gate of Auntie's house, the girls commenting on each and every detail they see, as if they themselves are watching the reel rather than being told a story.
I love this.
Yeah. It's so cool. I don't think I've ever seen anything done like this before.
No.
But we spy Gorgeous's grandmother, played by Kyoko Tsuji, sweeping just outside of the house, and Gorgeous introduces her, noting that her late grandfather was a doctor. Gorgeous's mother then crosses the yard, juggling, and her friends can't help but comment, "She looks just like you." But sitting on the porch next to Gorgeous's auntie is the auntie's fiancé, played by Tomokazu Miura. The girls gush that he's so handsome, the camera switching from sepia to black and white as Gorgeous's mother takes a seat next to them and the fiancé takes over the juggling from her. Gorgeous explains that he was going to run the hospital, but that he and her aunt weren't able to get married because of the war. A tray of drinks and food rests next to them, which obviously catches Mac's attention, but we then get on-screen text that reads, "The following year." The mail soon arrives, the fiancé opening it, and the letter inside burning a bright pink as he unfolds it. His draft card. He and Gorgeous's auntie make a pinky promise together, their heartfelt words appearing in title cards. "I promise I'll be back," and "I'll wait forever." They share a sweet kiss goodbye, the film stock burning away at the sight of their sincere affection. The girls react in amazement. It's burning! A kiss of fire! But through the rain, the military men march, the fiancé at the front of the formation. The girls joke. The men were more manly back then, but Kung Fu is more manly than they are. Gorgeous's mother marches behind them, tearfully clutching her umbrella, as Auntie watches from beneath a torii gate. She holds Blanche tightly in her arms as she watches from a distance. This to me should be some kind of clue to the girls who are somehow watching this.
If we're all watching this,
How?
we should all be very confused.
Yeah. I did enjoy this, though, them giving their own little commentary in the background over what's going on. And it is very silly or very like we're learning stuff, but them saying stuff in the back makes it feel not as serious because they do have their own little commentary. And then even when the film burns and they're like, "Oh, it's burning with love," or whatever. And it's like, are you not paying attention?
No.
Very sad.
This is real sad.
The girls are puzzled that Auntie wouldn't see her fiancé off, but Gorgeous explains that it was just too painful for her. The fiancé stares sternly ahead as Gorgeous's mother rushes through the crowd, raising her umbrella above his head to shield him from the rain. But we're soon transported into the skies, high above the theater of war, where the fiancé sits in the second seat of a fighter jet. The wounded pilot in front of him slides open the canopy, choking and gasping, his face covered in blood. But the fiancé sits serenely as the aircraft belches smoke, tumbling blindly from the sky into the earth below. And some time later, in black and white, Auntie stands somber in dark clothing before a tall slab of stone in a cemetery. white text on screen reads, "The war ends." As she wipes her tears, Gorgeous explains that the war ended and her auntie's fiancé never came home. Auntie clutches a red rose in her hands, the thorns of its stem drawing blood, which drips down her fingers, the red liquid highlighted with on-screen illustration and accompanied by the croaking cry of an infant. Gorgeous claims that her auntie is still waiting to this day for her fiancé to return to her, a notion that her friends find to be so romantic. But 5 years later, with the war ended, text overlays onto a sunflower. Peace returns, and through pinkish hues, we spy a wedding party gathered outside of the gates of the home, a photographer played by Mitsutoshi Ishigami scrambling like hell to get everyone and everything in order for a proper picture. As they unroll a rug and rest a chair in the center of the courtyard, Gorgeous's mother, clad in her beautiful bridal gown, takes her proper seat. But we find Auntie appearing far more forlornly now as she holds Blanche to her, feigning a smile as the flash of the photograph is snapped. And in the flash, we see the mushroom cloud of the atomic bomb expanding outward in its devastating destruction, Mac commenting in a chuckle that it looks like cotton candy. Just have to say how beautiful this entire sequence is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that it is so incredible and it sets up so much. So much happens that you're just along for the story.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that after you watch the film and you go back and see it again, you're like, you are planting seeds for so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Character dynamics, motivations, this kind of idea of resentment and bitterness.
Yeah.
And this line from Mac, and also kind of they're joking throughout this very serious thing.
Right.
Obayashi was trying to convey this feeling of detachment and this generational divide of people who grew up in a certain age only knowing peace and the people who lived through such horrors of war and trying to coexist together.
Just an inability to like understand.
Yeah.
Because to be like, oh, that looks like cotton candy. I took it as like a very childlike perspective of, this is how it relates to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't comprehend what I'm seeing, but I like snacks and that looks like cotton candy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is poignant.
Mm-hmm. And you think back to Obayashi's work in commercials and his short films, and just this feeling like its own little short film in the middle of this feature.
Yeah.
And it is so perfect and conveys so much in such a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But now gathered together at the back of a bus, Gorgeous holds this photograph in her hand of her mother and her auntie, explaining that since her grandma died, Auntie lives there all alone now. She says that she gives piano lessons to the neighbors, and Melody, naturally, is very impressed by this. But Blanche rests in Gorgeous's lap, looking kind of pissed off, actually. And as the bus reaches its stop, the girls depart. I do want to say that the logo for the bus is Blanche.
Yeah.
And the girls, again,
Nothing.
nobody seems to care. But they wave goodbye to another exiting traveler, the 7 of them standing in front of a backdrop which merely appears to be a flattened version of the majesty that currently surrounds them.
Yeah.
I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
It lends to this feeling of non-reality, where you're like, we are here, but it's also here. It's
right.
so cool to me. But white text across it reads, "Return to the countryside. Get married." Which again, with that theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they continue onward, away from the bus stop, and lining up in single file to cross a very narrow and precarious bridge. The camera pulls back to reveal the towering trees of the forest that surrounds them. But at the center of the shot, each of the girls is introduced again, their names appearing on screen as they live up to each of their nicknames, culminating with Mac chomping down on a baked good, boasting about her healthy appetite, before giving way to Gorgeous's smiling face, the girls calling her to urge her onward.
Once again, I'm always a fan of when we are introduced to them with their names in the film, even though we already know who the hell they are.
Yeah.
But again, it's this feeling of like, this is a show.
Right,
Like the
right.
intro of a show.
I think that's why I didn't mind this as much either, because I am one where and I've said it before, I don't like the whole entrance card or whatever. We know who you are. You don't need to tell me your name. You're going to say it 50,000 times anyway in the movie.
Fair.
And then you're going to tell us what you like, you don't like.
This is what happens when people start getting real.
Yeah. But this was cool because it is that. They're going on an adventure. We're in this forest or this whatever, and we are getting a little piece of each one of them. So I really didn't mind this too much.
But through thin trees, we find the girls making their way into a clearing, Fantasy fearful of the forest. The logical prof reminds her that ghosts don't exist, and when Sweet cowers at the mere mention of ghosts, Kung Fu calls her a chicken and confidently insists that they should leave the ghosts to her. Mac brings up the rear, snacking on another bite and offering very off-topic. This is so tasty.
I'm happy for her.
But Gorgeous gazes upward into the sunlight cast through the treetops. We glide through this forest and off into the mountains, where the world seems to open up, unveiled for the girls to witness and admire. Fantasy remarks that they're lost in another world, but Sweet pleads with her not to scare her. Finally, after their long journey, the girls reach a small town, stopping at a cabin for directions. They call out for anyone nearby, but the second that Max spots a watermelon stand, she reaches for the large fruit with both hands, against the warning of her friends. But when she snatches it from the shelf, she reveals someone standing behind it, the watermelon farmer, played by Issei Kobayashi. He makes a funny face for the girls, his eyes rolling back as he cackles. And he's the only one who laughs at this. So, Issei Kobayashi. He worked in commercials with Obayashi for, I believe, 10 years, I think they said.
Oh, wow.
He had never scored a feature film before, but he was well aware of Obayashi's desire to one day make a feature film.
Okay.
And so for those 10 years, he would constantly ask him, whenever you make a film, please let me do the music. And Obayashi was like, of course, yeah. And he became aware of Obayashi's script that he had written, Hanagatami. And so he was always thinking ahead of what music he would make for Hanagatami. But whenever it came time to make House, Obayashi delivers on his promise. And he's like, hey, I'm making my first feature film. Will you score it for me? And Kobayashi's like, of course.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so we get to score Hanagatami. He's like, let's, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
And so he lets him read the screenplay for House, and Kobayashi's like, no.
Oh.
He ridiculed the film.
Yeah.
And and this is really funny to me because the offer hadn't even been made yet, but he's like, look, I'll act in it, but I'm not going to. It's like nobody even said it. But Obayashi told him and he convinced him. He's like, look, I understand you think of Hanagatami as this big, grand film, this masterpiece, and you want to make music befitting of that.
Yeah.
He's like, but when you think of a ghost and fantasy film, they're kind of like Gothic novels, and they require Gothic elegance and beauty. So this finally convinces Kobayashi, and he relents and he writes all of the piano pieces that are featured in the film.
Okay.
But as it goes on, he realizes, the energy of this film is not something that I have. He's like, we need to find somebody younger to carry that energy in through the music.
Okay.
And so that's how they found the band Go Dai Go.
Okay.
And they were an unknown band at the time, but Kobayashi became a fan of theirs. And he asked Obayashi if he could write the score on piano, give them all of his themes, and then they do their own thing with it.
Right.
And Obayashi agreed.
Okay.
So it was a collaboration.
Yeah. So interestingly, in those 2 years of that multimedia blitz where they're doing fucking everything, Go Dai Go writes so many songs for House and end up with so much material that Obayashi is like, you know what? Just go ahead and release the soundtrack. And they're still like a year out from even making the film.
Right.
Because they're still trying to convince Toho.
Yeah.
And so these songs that are featured in the film were written a year, 2 years before the film is even a thing. And so there are people that are enjoying this music released as this soundtrack when it's not even attached to a film yet.
Wow.
So whenever the film is released, they're hearing songs that they know and love already.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about it is that having everything scored, they were able to play the soundtrack on set.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool. And the soundtrack is fucking awesome.
It
Yeah.
is.
Just to piggyback on what you were saying about playing the music on set, Obayashi had said that all of them either not having any acting experience or very little acting experience, he felt like when he was directing them with words, it was coming off very like school play, like very amateurish. And so he just started playing the score and having them react to the changes in keys, like the shifting. He said that they would go from being happy and bubbly to kind of moody and melancholic just as the music was changing. And he said that like the newer generation respond, like they're more open with their emotions and they respond more to music than they were to his words. And he said that they would start the day holding hands and skipping and like kind of loosening up and then reacting to the music when they were like, that was his form of directing them. And he said that he was completely ridiculed for directing them in this way and that they were completely ridiculed for the performances in the film, but that it worked for them and he really loved what he got out of them.
Yeah, well, I don't understand. I mean, I get it. Even if you don't like look at the movie and you're like, that's whatever. If they are all working together good, everybody, like you said, they're collaborating and they're able to be like, you know what, that's fine. I can start you off here, finish it. Or what is it like? They're doing a movie and they're working together good.
Yeah.
Why is it? No, you guys are having too much fun working on that show.
I don't know. And it all turns out well.
Yeah.
And I think it is kind of a genius way of directing because you're not able to be in your own head or be hung up when you have to like listen and feel, you know, what the music is like bringing out in you. Like, I feel like it's a way to kind of drop nervousness and it sounds kind of genius.
It does.
Yeah.
And it takes a really good director to realize what's working and what isn't.
Yeah,
Yes,
and the fact that he's like, it's the way I'm directing them. They're not, the words that I'm using, it's not hitting with them what I'm asking for.
Right.
Instead of being like, oh, they all suck. I'm telling them what to do and they're not doing, like, he's like, let me think of something else. And it worked.
It did. He's adapting.
Yeah.
But the farmer slowly creeps from behind the stand, Prof approaching him without trepidation and asking him where the house is. He amends her question. The mansion? And Gorgeous shares that it belongs to her aunt. The farmer leans in close, a little too close, as he intones, "Are you the lady's niece? I thought so." He grows giddy as he explains that she looks just like her, especially the eyes. His cheerful movements finally inspire a bit of laughter from the surrounding girls, and after surveying each of them left to right, he points off into the distance, a massive manor on a hill beyond the trees, which is caught in the center of an iris shot. His deep voice announces, "That's it. The house." And I swear to God, his voice is the announcer at the beginning because it sounds exactly the same. But the girls respond with excitement and gratitude, setting off for the house. Mac lingers behind a moment to return the watermelon that she snagged earlier. As she rejoins her friends, the farmer sets a straw hat on top of the round melon. With a funky score going wild in the background, the farmer whispers, "We haven't had visitors in a long time." And removing the hat to place back on his own head, he adds that he's sure that the lady will be very pleased, letting loose an unnerving chortle.
So are we cool to go or are we in trouble? Like, what does that mean? What?
It's troubling. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds.
Very troubling. And I don't know why this guy knows all the tea about, oh, you're her niece?
Yeah.
Like, even, I would like to know more about this relationship.
Yeah. And these girls are letting a lot of things go constantly.
Yeah.
But the girls continue on their perilous path over jagged rocks, with Melody leading the way, and once they reach the top of the hill, they find themselves standing before the gates of the manor, only once seen before through photographs. They marvel at the size of the manor, taking it all in with their eager eyes, and Fantasy even snaps a photograph. But just as she does, a large bird of prey swoops in just behind the girls, startling her. She attempts to draw the attention of her friends to it, but no one else seems to care. It's like, that was a falcon or something.
Yeah.
We need to get inside right now.
The girls gather at the gate, calling out through the slats. "You've got a telegram. You've got a patient, doctor." But Gorgeous turns away from them to give her reflection a loving inspection within a compact mirror. Fantasy alerts the group to what she's doing, the rest of the girls squealing as Fantasy tells Gorgeous that she's so stylish. But with their backs turned, the gate slowly yawns open behind them, Blanche slipping away from Gorgeous and slinking through the entrance, which Gorgeous takes notice of, calling out to the cat. But when she sees her feline friend again, she's resting comfortably in the lap of Auntie, who sits in a wheelchair at the center of the walkway inside. Beneath a pair of dark sunglasses and through the veil of her now white hair, Auntie flashes an inviting smile, welcoming the girls to her home.
Obayashi had said that Yoko Minamata, Auntie, was one of the top Japanese actresses, but she had transitioned into TV and theater because she was having difficulties getting film roles. He said that in Japan, at least at the time, once you play a mother or an older woman, younger roles are closed to you forever. He said in America, older actors play teenagers all the time. Younger people play older people, but not there. He said that she is younger, obviously, than Auntie as she's being played in the present day.
Yeah.
And when he asked her to play an old woman, she told him yes, but that once she did, she would never be able to take on the role of an ingenue again. And she knew that. And so it was basically like, I'm trusting you, you know?
Yeah.
And she's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the soft piano lullaby plays as Gorgeous greets her aunt in return, her eyes widening in recognition of her relative, and Auntie, framed in an ethereal green light, grins. "All 7 of you together. How lovely." And in unison, Gorgeous and her friends bow in respect to the elder woman, offering her a kind hello.
I feel like we should have, like, I haven't seen my aunt in a long time, so I don't know if she's really cool. Like, I'm sorry if we all get taken, all right?
Yes.
Auntie is giving some vibes.
Yeah. Starting early. And something interesting, we had just talked about green light and color theory on episode 300, but Auntie being surrounded in green light and what this color can signify, the supernatural, sickness, and decay. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And to set something up so early like that is really, really masterful.
Yeah.
But Gorgeous guides Auntie inside, her friends following closely and marveling at the trees and overgrown grass that line the entryway, which is very interesting. Auntie speaks over her shoulder to Gorgeous, amazed at how much she's grown since they last spoke, noting that she looks exactly like her mother now. She wonders the last time they saw each other, and Gorgeous remembers it was Grandma's funeral. As Blanche meows and rests her small and sweet face against her, Auntie realizes, 10 years ago, it's been that long? Their faces superimposed at the center of the screen. She shares, "All this time, I've been waiting for you only." Gorgeous can do nothing but apologize for this delay and distance, but Melody soon interrupts them, inquiring, "I hear you teach piano?" Auntie smiles, admitting that she used to, but now she's all alone. Prof then asks in a rather uncouth manner, "What happened to your legs?" But Auntie urges her not to worry, noting that she has all of them here with her now and that she's all right. And as they all reach the entrance together, Fantasy stops the group, offering to take a photograph. As they all assemble into the proper places and pose for the picture, Blanche's eyes seem to flash a bright and eerie green, suddenly sending Fantasy's camera right out of her hands and onto the paved path below her.
Blanche, what the fuck?
Yeah, I knew that cat was going to cross this.
That's crazy.
You're too pretty. I knew you were going to.
No pictures.
Yeah.
God damn, dude. A startled and dismayed Fantasy kneels down to assess the damage, doing so 3 times for some reason. The editing. But Auntie just offers her apologies for Fantasy's camera, Blanche chiming in with a meow as Auntie adds, "Don't look so sad. I'm really happy that you've all come to visit." She urges Fantasy to smile, and after a moment of hesitation, she does as told. But when the group enters the courtyard, the camera rises above the exterior wall to join them. Max stands at the side of Auntie, now clutching a large round watermelon and offering it to her as a gift. I could have sworn she gave it back to the farmer.
She
I don't
did.
know.
Yeah. What the hell?
When she's accused of stealing it, an offended Mac responds defensively that she paid for it. But as she holds the heavy fruit to her torso, Kung Fu snarks. It's as fat as Mac is.
Come on, man.
I know.
Like, you don't get any watermelon.
And just like that, you're cut off.
But we peer through the shadows of Auntie's unlit home as the front door opens, the girls piling inside as Auntie officially invites them in. Melody's amazement guides her absently past the foyer, Prof having to remind her to remove her shoes before going any further. Reaching for the light switch by the door, Auntie beckons, "Dear chandelier, shine on them." She flicks it on, a trio of hanging lights illuminating the room with a glorious glow. But all of a sudden, amidst feverish flashes, sharp jewels begin to break free from the luminous fixture, one shard slipping right past Kung Fu and into the floorboards to impale a small lizard. Sweet's hat rises from her head as another piece snaps off, but Kung Fu, with what we learn to be her theme,
Yes. It's so good.
leaps heroically into the air to chop it away, sending the fragments sailing into the center of an antique telephone on the wall. Her hat landing properly back on her head, Sweet gushes, "Well done! You're so cool, Kung Fu!" Blanche has also vaulted into the air. But it's only to snack on the lizard on the floor.
Yeah. I think seeing this was it's already weird, but I think having the theme music and Kung Fu batting shit away and saving us and whatever, I was like, oh, we're going all the way.
Mm-hmm.
There is no silly that's off limits. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, you do whatever you want.
And it's so, because earlier whenever they were at the school, she batted that ball away.
Yeah.
But it was nothing like this.
No.
It's so stylized now.
Yeah.
It's like the further we get into the movie, the more it's like either you're in or you're not.
Yes.
Like it just gets more over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I love this entire ensemble, but Kung Fu is my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
No, she's the shit,
Yeah.
dude.
But with this wild scene behind them, Auntie calmly removes her glasses, inviting Melody to take a look at the grand piano in the other room, certain that she'll love it. As Melody exits excitedly to check it out, she passes a kneeling Prof, who with great interest observes Blanche going to town on that lizard. But standing at the bottom of the staircase, Gorgeous surveys the space and can't help but comment that even though Auntie is very tidy, this house is simply too big for her. Kung Fu assures Gorgeous that they'll all help her aunt manage it, which the elder woman is thankful for. But suddenly, a sweet song emanates from nearby, Prof realizing it to be Melody's pleasant performance on the grand piano. The girls rush to join her in the large and dusty den, Melody seated at the instrument at the center of the room. Gorgeous shares that this area used to be the clinic, and as the group investigates the space, they find a small table and chair sectioned off with a bed in the corner, Fantasy supposing that it must be Auntie's bedroom. Inside this bedroom, Prof discovers a portion of the wall is lined with silver-framed photographs of Blanche. The girls giggle and offer a mimic of her meow. Nobody finds this strange.
Yeah.
But as they venture further, Fantasy is startled to discover a small skeleton model parked between the drapes of the window at the far wall. It stares at her through one empty eye socket and one unblinking eye, a small laugh slipping through its smiling teeth.
I'm obsessed with this skeleton.
Yes. I was like, Blanche is my favorite character. No, this.
Wait, we're tied. We're tied.
And I did want to mention, I don't know if it's true, and I doubt that it is, but this laugh sounded so much like Vincent Price to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Fantasy shrieks, falling into the waiting arms of Prof, only able to laugh it off when she realizes she isn't in any real danger. But suddenly, everything seems to slow down, our view of Auntie sputtering as her wheelchair stops at the center of the girls. Auntie explains that Gorgeous's grandfather used to treat patients in this room. This story seems to unsettle Fantasy, but Auntie adds that after his passing, she then taught piano here. It was a long time ago, when the village was prosperous and full of people. Even girls from town came here to take lessons, but she doesn't have any visitors anymore. As Fantasy glances back in fear at the skeleton in the corner of the room, Mac bellows a complaint. I get hungry whenever I'm startled. I want to eat.
She's like, that's crazy. Let's break open this watermelon and talk about it.
The girls cackle at Mac's unending appetite, but Auntie shares that unfortunately, she can't work very much in the kitchen. But kneeling down at her side, Prof tells her not to worry. They'll cook for everyone. Auntie is quite pleased to hear this, and Gorgeous, now returning her hands to the handles of the wheelchair, asserts, "You must have been so lonely." And Auntie confirms this. She was, but now she has many young girls in her house, and she's so glad. Kung Fu suggests that they split up the jobs, Mac naturally assuming the role of cook, and Sweet offering to help with the cleaning. Mac asks Gorgeous to show her to the kitchen, and Auntie asks to join them. As Gorgeous guides her out of the room, Blanche leaps from an odd angle, landing right on Auntie's lap, and Mac follows behind Gorgeous with her watermelon in tow.
Someone threw that cat on her.
Absolutely.
But this cat is so chill.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
my eye is drawn obviously to the cat.
Of course.
But it's like just chilling.
Yeah.
So fine. Like in every scene.
Because the first time I watched it, again, everything that's happening, you're just kind of like, what the fuck's this? And what is that? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
But watching it again with your sister this morning, we were kind of looking at it and she was like, that cat's really just, and the more I was watching it again, I was like, the cat really is chilling. Like it acts or it does whatever it needs to on cue.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just sitting there.
It's like, because our cat would never.
Oh.
Yeah,
would not be
yeah.
okay with any of this.
And it does act. There's a moment later.
Yeah.
There's reaction
Yes.
shots.
It's amazing. But a loud bell of a grandfather clock chimes throughout the house, the loud clang startling the girls left behind in the den and leaving Prof to wonder, where's it coming from? But a serene guitar is strummed in the score as we follow Gorgeous, Auntie, and Mac through a shadowed corridor and into the large kitchen. The size of the space amazes Mac, but Auntie is focused instead on an appliance at the other side of the room, commenting, "The young lady will warm you, dear stove." Gorgeous lets the light into the room through the window above the sink, And when Mac responds puzzled to Auntie's greeting, the elder woman explains that she's lived alone for such a long time, so she often talks with the furniture and the equipment while she works. Mac immediately follows her lead, reaching for the handle of the refrigerator as she asks, "Mr. Fridge, may I cool this watermelon in you?"
Look, she's focused on her goal, but she is being respectful.
She is. It's like, hey, when in Rome, let's...
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Mac learns from Auntie that the fridge is out of order, and instead, Auntie suggests the natural refrigerator, the well outside. And as Gorgeous takes Mac by the hand to show her where it is, Auntie settles into her chair, peering down lens at us as she lets out a knowing chuckle through a very suspicious smile.
Man, why do you keep looking at me like that? What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm like, I am not a part of this.
Yeah. What the hell? Can you see me?
Holy shit. But back in the parlor, Prof takes it upon herself to assume a leadership role until Mr. Togo arrives, and Kung Fu seems okay with this. But as she exits the room for the kitchen, Prof warns Kung Fu, "Don't karate chop any dishes." And before she can leave, she notices the trouble that Sweet and Melody are having in their attempt to open a stubborn pantry door. So Kung Fu kindly asks them to step aside. She delivers a slow-motion kick to the barrier, busting it off of its hinges, her theme music playing loudly in the background.
Was that necessary?
I don't think so.
No. Auntie's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
That was the moment she's like, you know what?
That's
no more
no.
now.
We're done. Yeah.
From this new opening flies a pair of mice, which land on the shoulder of the startled Sweet and the chest of the oblivious Melody. Kung Fu tells Sweet to calm down, it's just a mouse, and Melody reaches her hand to pet the small creature on her friend. But when Kung Fu points out that one also landed on Melody, the young woman emits a frightened scream. But outside in the garden, Mac and Gorgeous tie the watermelon with a length of rope, Gorgeous remembering this well from when she visited the house as a child. Auntie assures them both that the water will be nice and cold to chill the watermelon for them. And with that, the girls count down before dropping the fruit into the depths of the well to splash into the water below. Mac worries. What if we won't be able to find it? But Gorgeous promises Mac that it's all right. People always used to do this. Auntie chuckles that Mac is a funny nickname for a girl, but Gorgeous explains that Mac is a big eater. She's like one big stomach, so they call her Mac. It kind of works.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was looking up how to say stomach in Japanese because I thought it was.
Oh.
I was like, surely it's not stomach. Like that's how you got the nickname Mac.
Yeah.
From stomach.
I think Big Mac is better.
Yeah. That's what I thought, but
Yeah.
they never mentioned
But
that.
that's not how you say it. That's
They're
not how you
like-
say stomach in Japanese. So
No.
it's
Really?
like, oh no, it's in English. Okay, cool.
You know what
Yeah.
happened? They're like, McDonald's wouldn't give us permission.
Yeah. We'll just say
We'll say
whatever.
it's stomach. But Mac whines for Gorgeous to shut up, which inspires a laugh from Auntie, the elder woman commenting, "Mac, you sure look tasty, being round and all." An eerie cymbal sizzles as Auntie smiles.
Well, what? Auntie,
That's
what the
wild.
hell did you say?
Yeah.
It's very important that we talk about this for a second.
Why you gotta be round and all?
Yeah,
You know what?
what the hell are you
What's
talking
that
about?
mean?
I think we're focusing on the wrong part.
Yeah.
You said I look tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Well, and she had like a very devious.
Yeah.
That was
look.
that.
What the hell, Auntie?
Mm-hmm.
You're showing your hand too quickly.
Immediately.
But Mac doesn't seem to be taken aback by this strange sentiment and instead just replies, "I'm so hungry I could pass out." Gorgeous assumes that her auntie was just joking and suggests that they should go make supper for everyone. They're promptly joined by the rest of the group, Kung Fu splashing Mac with water from a nearby barrel, and one of the girls offering to prepare a bath. But the camera rises above them, and we discover Blanche resting atop an awning, an ever-watchful eye from above. But Prof sidles up next to Auntie, wondering why she wears glasses outdoors. An iris wipe centers on Auntie until darkness consumes the frame, and when we return, we spy Auntie's reflection upon the water in the barrel next to her, as she admits that the bright sunlight frightens her. Her hand splashes into the water, the golden light of sunset rippling upon its surface.
That was a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, so she's a vampire.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That just brings up more questions.
It does.
You're eating people. You are afraid of sunlight.
Yeah.
And it's an odd question because they're sunglasses. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yes. Yeah.
of course I would wear them outside.
Why are you wearing those sunglasses in the sun?
But later, the girls gather in the dining room, sitting together on the floor before their neatly arranged trays of food. We then see that Blanche is perched at the far end of the room in front of a plate of milk and beneath a painting on the wall, which the girls recognize to be the spitting image of her. Fantasy suggests that maybe Blanche came out of the painting, but Mac calls this ridiculous, and when the girls share a laugh, Prof promptly shushes them, warning that they might wake Auntie in the other room. Gorgeous tells them all not to worry. Auntie spent too much time in the sun and is definitely in a deep sleep. Mac worries that without supper, Auntie will be hungry. But as she reaches for another serving of rice, I believe her fourth in this scene,
Good for her.
Yeah.
Prof reminds her that Auntie will be fine. She's not like Mac. But Mac suddenly remembers the watermelon in the well, which is definitely chilled by now, and she rushes off to retrieve it. Before she makes her exit, however, the girls call out to her to tighten the green ribbon around her hair, which she does. Very important later.
Yeah.
I'm deeply concerned for Mac.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's please stay in clusters if we're not all going to stay together.
Buddy system.
Yes.
But time passes. The girls now finished with their meal, and as Fantasy and Melody clear their dinner trays, Gorgeous sits braiding Prof's hair on the porch, Sweet remarking how pretty she is without her glasses. We spy Prof from alternating angles, the girl accepting the compliment, but admitting that she can't see a thing without her glasses. Kung Fu comments, "Oh, that's too bad." And this tickles the fuck out of the girls for some reason. But the loud chime of the mysterious clock informs them of the hour, the group supposing that after they're finished up here, they could play hide and seek together. But realizing that Mac has been gone for what feels like forever, Fantasy is tasked with checking on her. And as she heads off to do just that, Kung Fu comments, "Well, she does imagine things." The girls share a laugh as Fantasy rounds the corner and enters the garden. Fantasy calls out for Mac, but stops for a moment to admire the beautiful hues of sunset which brim through the billowing clouds overhead. But finally peering into the well, Fantasy notices that Mac hasn't even gotten the watermelon yet, so she takes it upon herself to pull the rope, the melon making its ascent as Fantasy once again loses herself in the brilliant summer sky. But when she settles the item at the end of the rope onto the edge of the well, she turns back to face it. And instead of the bright green rind of the fruit, she finds instead Mac's decapitated head. Her wet black hair matted to the flesh of her pale face.
Here we fucking go.
Yeah.
Mac intones, "Fantasy." A cackle creaks through her dripping throat as Fantasy stumbles backward in fright, losing her footing. As she takes a tumble, Mac's disembodied head somersaults through the air, her teeth landing with a crunch into the soft skin of Fantasy's butt.
Come on, man.
I know. I was not expecting that.
No.
This happened. I was like, oh yeah. There's. We're just going with it.
Yeah. And it's like, even though like this is a decapitated head of your friend coming after you, she's still having a great time.
Yeah.
And biting you in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, it's still just this bent of hilarity for what reason, I don't know, but
know.
it works.
Like, no, Mac's still in there. But Fantasy shrieks, giving Mac's head a proper bump to disturb her bite, Mac cackling as she floats back over to the well, vomiting a mixture of well water and blood. So the idea for this scene came about through Chigumi Obayashi's visit to her grandparents' house. She had said that they had bought a watermelon and the refrigerator was out of order, and so they decided that they would just chill it in the well. But when her grandfather went to pull it up, she would later tell her father, I was afraid that it might be a head instead. And Obayashi's like, I see.
Noted.
But Fantasy's screams alert her friends, who come rushing to her aid, only to find her collapsed in a heap on the floor of the kitchen. Disturbed by her condition, they unleash a barrage of questions, which the breathless Fantasy is unable to answer. But the group is soon interrupted by the returning Auntie, who is, of course, accompanied by Blanche. Gorgeous is surprised to see her, assuming her to have been unwell from her time in the sun. But Auntie assures her that she's just fine, commenting that it's so noisy in the house. But Fantasy is finally able to blurt out, "The head! A human head!" Melody's like, yeah, everybody has one. I don't...
Please.
But Fantasy cries, "A decapitated human head!" The girls respond in shock and disbelief, especially Prof, but Auntie takes it upon herself to investigate Fantasy's claim, standing up from her wheelchair to the surprise of the group.
Yeah, this was like that time Uncle Joe got out of the bed just fine. And we went to that chocolate factory. Grandpa, there you go.
Don't get me started on Grandpa Joe's lazy, trifling ass.
He could have got up the whole time.
That's wild.
He was dancing.
He did.
He was the real villain in that movie.
Really?
He made it through the whole tour.
Willy Wonka
Like, you're
killed
just fine.
several children.
I
They
mean, the
didn't follow
children,
the rules.
they didn't listen.
They didn't follow the rules. Hey, look, a factory's a dangerous place. They all signed a waiver. I don't know.
I'm sure they did. He's going to cover his ass first and foremost.
Prof asks, "You can walk?" And Auntie answers that the girls have given her energy. Interesting.
Yeah.
But before Auntie can head outside, a confident Kung Fu takes point, leading the rest of the girls over to the well, while Gorgeous stays behind, cradling the shaken Fantasy. Prof, Melody, and Sweet cower behind the valiant Kung Fu, who without hesitation starts pulling up the rope that hangs deep within the well. And after a while, they discover that at the end of the rope rests the properly chilled watermelon. Kung Fu asks sarcastically, "Is this the head?" The girls share a laugh, bringing it inside for everyone to enjoy.
So, of course she's going to look crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, we found the watermelon, but that doesn't explain where Mac is.
Yeah.
She went to go get that watermelon. The watermelon's still there. Mac is gone, and I saw a head.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all don't want to talk about that.
No.
Like, she's still missing.
Right.
Let's enjoy this delicious watermelon and
It's
talk
what
about
Mac
it.
would have wanted.
The group sits together in the dining room, Auntie crunching on the tasty melon as Fantasy eyes her suspiciously. But when no one is looking, Auntie opens her mouth, revealing one of Mac's eyeballs peering out between her lips.
What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
And why are you flaunting it? Why
I
are
know.
you teasing
I don't
me?
understand.
It sucks because she's like, I know what they think of you.
Yeah, nobody's
They're
gonna
not gonna
believe what you
believe you.
say. Yeah.
Fantasy recoils in shock, but Auntie just slurps the eyeball into a chomp before anyone else can take notice. Gorgeous insists that Fantasy is just imagining things. This is when Prof remembers that there's a potato field down the road and supposes that Mac probably just went there. She loves baked potatoes.
Well, they don't grow baked. And
Yeah.
Mac was hungry and she was not playing about that watermelon. This makes no sense.
No.
I don't even know Mac as well as y'all, but she went to get that watermelon.
And I'm sorry, that's a a weird excuse. You like potatoes. You probably went to go over there and hang out with them. Like,
She's
wouldn't
not
I be back with
foraging.
One would think.
yeah.
Bring back,
Yeah.
but no.
No.
But Melody bets that she's just playing hide and seek like they planned. Kung Fu offers to go look for her, and Melody promises to save Kung Fu a piece of watermelon when she returns. But Kung Fu replies, and you'd better save a big piece for Mac. The remaining half of the watermelon rests on a nearby plate, jostling from left to right all on its own, Mac's voice bellowing from within the pulp. And nobody takes notice of this either.
No.
I know.
Instead, Gorgeous leans over to Fantasy, telling her that she's really sweaty and that they should take a bath. The shot refocuses on the distant auntie who interjects, "Not before the others."
Okay.
Yeah, what?
It never comes up.
Yeah.
I don't understand it either. I had wondered if maybe there was a plan and an order in place, and that maybe something was getting in the way of Auntie's plan.
Okay.
It's like, what word am I looking for? But it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Because I think that we all have an idea right now of, we're already starting this game of these girls are kind of being picked off.
Right.
And so if you're watching this film and you're thinking about who we've followed and have the most connection with through screen time,
Yeah.
you're already imagining a particular face-off at the very end.
Right.
But Prof insists that it's all right. Gorgeous is their sponsor, after all. But Sweet, who's now wearing a pink apron, wipes the floors of a nearby corridor, clearing a clean path for Gorgeous's trek to the bathroom. Sweet admits that she enjoys the work and glides down the hall to make the beds after Gorgeous tells her where the beddings are. But in the kitchen, the other girls gather their meal trays to wash in the sink, the returning Kung Fu wondering where Mac could have possibly gone. But Prof assures her there's nothing to worry about and that Mac will come back. A puzzled Kung Fu asks, "Without eating the watermelon?"
Thank you.
Yeah.
She paces to the other side of the room, but from all of her work, Prof proclaims her thirst, reaching a glass beneath the faucet of the sink. But as the girls all turn their heads away and over to Kung Fu, the water suddenly runs red, the murky liquid filling the glass, which the oblivious and parched Prof immediately gulps.
I loved that. And it's such a visual representation of the shit being right in front of them and nobody paying attention to it.
Because it does happen, but it's not like it just happens.
Yeah. And they're all, so anyway.
Yeah.
This water tastes weird, right, guys? But as Gorgeous takes down her hair in the bathroom, Sweet sits outside in the hall, still cleaning the floors with a wet rag. But through the garden races Blanche, who bounds out of a nearby shed and crosses over to an amazed Sweet, who scoops her up, asking, "You opened the door?" She sets the cat down, drying her hands at the hem of her apron before creeping over to the shed herself and into the dark space within it. By a small stepladder, a porcelain doll in a pink dress seems to float before her, its soft voice beckoning. Sweet. Sweet heeds the doll's calls, inching her way over, the doll's eyes shimmering a supernatural green as Sweet stares into them transfixed. And as Gorgeous steps into the steaming bath, Kung Fu steps outside all alone to gaze off into the beautiful blue light of the evening. A serene smile settles on her face as she breathes. I like the countryside. But we watch as this smile slowly fades, her face now awash with worry as a tense noise rises within the once peaceful score. But as soon as the sound dies away, Kung Fu's joy returns to her, and we wipe right out of there to return to Gorgeous in the bath. That moment was kind of puzzling to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was her maybe thinking about Mac and then just going back to whatever.
Right.
But it was like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
As Gorgeous cleanses herself in the warm water, Kung Fu calls out to her through the window. How's the bath? Gorgeous rises naked to face her friend through the small slatted barrier, telling her that it's fine, but she just needs a little more water to wash her hair. Kung Fu snaps to it, declaring her friend to be a stylish princess, which Gorgeous laughs off. But Kung Fu announces that it's time for work, as she kicks off her shoes and snags a piece of firewood and an axe. She chops it in half from one swift swing of the blade, but as she stands, wiping the sweat from her brow, the firewood nearby suddenly stands upright all on its own, while in the bath, a mess of black hair, tangled like vines, reaches to clutch Gorgeous's shoulder before swiftly retreating back beneath the surface of the warm water. She shakes this off as an illusion.
Uh-huh. All right. I loved how this looked.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty obviously just reversed, but it looks like surreal. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed just the visual of that and how fucking creepy it was. And this bath looks so relaxing.
Yeah.
And it was funny to me that these girls just got to work immediately. I could see them cleaning, chopping wood.
Yeah.
If Auntie wasn't whatever the hell she is, I'm sure she'd be really appreciative.
Yeah, dude. And again, this is almost like Snow White, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I really do appreciate these like classic and innovative versions of special effects. You feel like these new and old techniques that are just on such amazing display in this film.
Yeah.
But Kung Fu is disturbed by the incessantly chirping cicadas that surround her. She laments the fact that they haven't found Mac yet. But before she can get too wistful, a log bursts free from the fireplace, blazing as it sails right for her. She deftly bats it away as her theme starts to play. And when log after log attempts its own aerial attack, Kung Fu has an answer for each of them, knocking them away with stiff strikes as she flips through the air in a somersault, landing firmly on her feet, but losing her skirt in the process. She turns to face the defeated logs, crossing her arms as she proclaims, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah? No?
Yeah. I love that she stays ready.
Yeah.
She never has
Yeah.
to get ready, just whatever is thrown at her.
But much like Gorgeous, she supposes that maybe it was just an illusion. Her skirt hangs above her, dangling on the awning before dropping down for her to catch super casually. As the clock chimes once more at the top of the hour, we spy the grounds of the manor from above, as Melody stalks across the porch in search of Sweet, and Blanche bellows a meow as she crawls across the rooftop. But in the kitchen, as Prof and Fantasy continue cleaning the dishes, Auntie suddenly makes her presence known, swaying to a whimsical waltz in the score. Prof can't help but notice Auntie's good mood, and the elder woman compares her excitement to a feeling that she once felt as a child when she went to a restaurant in town.
Okay, Auntie.
Yeah.
You might just say we ate Ooter
Yeah.
And he's in our stomachs
right now. It's like, wait, okay, I get it. I get it.
But she quickly becomes aware of Fantasy's dour demeanor, promising her not to worry, that she'll see Mac again. As Prof turns away, Auntie wipes her mouth with a napkin before opening the fridge and climbing inside of it. We spy this scene from the rafters as a startled Fantasy drops the dishes she was holding, the porcelain shattering against the floorboards, and a pissed-off Prof scolding her friend. Fantasy tries to explain, pointing to the fridge, but is unable to describe what she just witnessed. The waltz continues as Auntie creeps by the camera, staring down lens at us and offering a sinister smile.
That was cool as hell.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she told Mac that the fridge was broken, I was like, there's something awful in there. And I thought it was going to be a reveal later of like dead bodies or something awful in the fridge. I wasn't expecting this.
No.
Yeah.
And again, it's such a sly cut. You see it happen whenever she drops the plates if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
But without that, you're like, how the hell did she get up there in one take?
Yeah.
But upon Fantasy's insistence, Prof opens the fridge to reveal nothing but the empty shelves inside. She's certain that Fantasy is just imagining things again. But Auntie floats upward, balancing on a beam as she dances barefoot with her shoes in her hands. She's then promptly teleported into the den to share a dance with the chattering skeleton, his bones rattling and crunching as he matches her moves. Auntie hums along with the music before gathering an array of colorful liquids, mixing proper potions before taking a seat at the edge of her bed and making a meal out of Mac's severed hands.
We're not even cutting it up.
No.
I know.
We're just gnawing on a
know.
hand.
She crunches into the poor girl's wrist before snacking on a pair of goldfish, tossing their remains into a bowl of water where they seem to regenerate and return to vibrant life among the aquatic foliage.
How high are we? Nick, what's going on?
And it's funny because she's like, I got some time for this. Like,
Yeah.
anybody can walk in at any time. But deeper in the den, Blanche leaps onto the piano, the shot repeating and reversing as she crawls across the keys, her meows matching the music in a bit of a remix. Remeows?
Very good.
Thank you. But Auntie crosses over into the living room where she finds a seat and a chair, and all alone, she bursts into laughter, her eyes staring longingly into the ether, until tiredness overtakes her, her mouth stretching into a yawn. But through the haze of a long, dark hallway, Gorgeous creeps forward, brushing her hair as she climbs the stairs, following Blanche up to the second floor. So this is as good a place as any because I feel like the cinematography in this film is just incredible throughout.
Okay.
And the way that they use the camera and the way that they light certain scenes, this corridor is gorgeous. Just the fog, the way that it billows. There's some stuff outside too, and there's some really interesting choices with where they put the camera, which feels, and I don't know that he had any time to even see it because this film took forever to make it to the United States, but it puts me so much in the mind of a lot of Sam Raimi's moves that he would later use in The Evil Dead.
Okay, I can see that.
I love it so much.
I'll be honest, and I mean this with all the love because I like this movie. I wouldn't call any of these camera movements magnificent or whatever. To me, a lot of it is just, again, chaotic. A lot of it is just, no, cut here. No, go over there. No, go back. It's just so crazy, but it works. I don't know if that's a brilliance, like the genius or whatever. But to me, none of it. And again, I mean it with all the love because I like this movie. But to me, I'm watching and I'm like, this is a mess. But it's one of those things where it's like everything has a place I know where it's at. I know my office is dirty, but I know where everything is.
For me, I think it's like the use of certain glides at certain moments, a lot of snap zooms that are really cool and really impactful whenever they're trying to sell. Like there's a moment later with a painting that is just like, and it is this chaotic thing, but I think it is like you're saying, it's almost like organized chaos.
Okay.
Like I don't think that this stuff is happening by mistake because they didn't know what to do.
Right.
I think it's happening very intentionally, even if it looks absolutely wild.
I hope so, because for me, a lot of it is like, we got lucky with that, then let's fucking leave it in. Like Shutter Island. Shutter Island is, you meant to do that.
It's like, it's meticulous.
Yes, that's beautiful. Here, it's just like, dude, that was fucking badass. Put it in.
I think it's almost like one of those things where it's like, you know what rules to break, and only knowing that can you do something like this.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I do have a very, very sweet and sincere story about the cinematography that I think it made the director cry when he told it.
Okay.
I don't want to build it up too much right now. But
Like, damn.
he had talked about whenever they were shooting this film, from his personal perspective, he very meticulously talked about how he didn't want to imitate any of the other filmmakers that he looked up to. And so whenever they were lining up a shot, he's like, it's too close to Kurosawa, or Otsu did something similar. We can't do that. And so one of the things that he said was like, what would offend Kurosawa or Ozu.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Which kind of might explain some of that too.
Yeah.
But he had brought with him a cinematographer called Yoshitaka Sakamoto, and he shot like the majority of Obayashi's commercials. And so the thing is at the time they're working in this like studio system with Toho. And so a lot of the crew that worked for them weren't people that Obayashi picked. It was people that Toho selected for him because they work for the studio.
Yeah.
And so he brings in Sakamoto as his cinematographer, but Sakamoto wants to have full control of everything because that's what he's used to. He's like, I want to deal with the lining up of the shots and everything, the framing, the camera movements, but I also want to talk about the lighting and have control of the lighting teams and everything. And so there was a little bit of tension between Sakamoto and these crew members because that's not what they're used to. They're like, we got the lighting.
Yeah.
You do what you do. And so Obayashi worked really hard to kind of maintain this really good atmosphere on set. And he had spoken about this time that he had called up to the rafters and he called out a Toho crew member by name. And he was like, hey, and he made a joke about something and just trying to keep things light. So at some point during the production, because he wore these sunglasses all the time while he was directing. This might be where Auntie got it. One of the screws comes loose from his glasses and the lens falls out. And he's like, fuck, my favorite glasses are broken. So he's working the rest of the day with one lens missing. And he's like, these are just broken forever. So he goes and he has this idea of bringing the entire crew together for a drink and I think some kind of sweet treat. And he's like, we'll get everyone together and we'll boost this morale on the first day, bring everyone back and everyone will stay in a good mood. So they all get there and they're enjoying their drinks and food, but the lighting team isn't there. And he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, this is becoming a thing and it's going to become a thing. And he's like, I feel like they're going to feel alienated because they aren't here. Maybe they think they weren't invited.
Right.
So he's just nervous as hell. But then 2 hours later, the lighting crew comes in and the guy that he had called out earlier by name, he's holding a napkin in his hand and he goes, is this the screw that you lost for your glasses?
Yeah.
And Obayashi, he just got emotional because he was like, first thinking it was gone forever. But then the crew member explained, he goes, nobody has ever called me by my name.
Yeah.
Working on Toho films. The second that you did that and I saw that your glasses broke, I said, we have to make it our mission to find his screw.
Yeah.
And so they spent 2 hours looking for it and they found it for him.
Damn. I hope he didn't throw away the lens.
It's like, this is useless, but thank you.
Thank you, guys. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Don't take those back. Bring them back.
But you think about what we were talking about earlier with them saying the vibe on set was so close and so fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all a matter of, it starts at the top.
Right.
You talk to people like you would talk to anyone you respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, I'm the director, so do what I say.
Right.
It's, hey, John.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Because doing this, learning about how directors and people, they lead, you know what I mean? And then it's like, no, you do this or what? And it's like, okay, here, it just feels like that. Oh, we didn't get the shot. We'll make this work, or just do it again. And if it looks cool, we'll do it. You know what I mean? Because they are having fun. So for me, it's just it feels like that. Oh, we didn't get it. We'll figure it out. Try something else. Because they are meshing together and gelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just such a bummer what is so normalized as the way, that you're I would say even in the service industry, I can totally relate to that. When you actually feel like somebody is looking at you as a person.
Yeah.
Instead of somebody that is only alive to provide the service for them that they're asking for. It is like, damn, dude, but that is unfortunately the world that we live in a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they remembered my name? Wow. You know what I mean?
It shouldn't mean so much.
It shouldn't, but it does.
It does. But on the second floor, Gorgeous discovers a large bedroom, the door creaking open for her and the room illuminating upon her arrival. She enters the ornately decorated room, which dips to intermittent darkness as a deep, disembodied voice bellows. I've been lonely. Gorgeous kneels before the triptych mirror, a framed photo of Auntie's fiancé resting in front of her. She reaches for it, gazing at her dearly departed relative that she never had the privilege to meet. But she then reaches for a music box, and when she opens it, the score swells, the small tinkling inside matching the notes of the lullaby we've heard many times before. And Gorgeous seems to recognize the song herself, though she can't seem to place it. But in the parlor, Melody returns to the piano, peering at the dusty sheet music resting on the rack above the keys. The piano itself seems to call out to her. Melody. She reaches her hand for the piano, seeming to play the same lullaby, which sounds suspiciously like Welcome to the Black Parade.
That's my note!
I was like, hold on.
That was my only thing. Yeah, because I was like, I don't understand what you're doing here. I was like, this is from 77. Did they wait? And they were like, you know what, that. I want that at the beginning of the song.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Gerard Way or the band was a fan of this movie.
Because it does sound exactly like the very, very beginning of that song.
Yeah. I was like, I can't be crazy, right?
Yeah, no.
But as a metronome ticks at her side, Melody settles into a seat on the bench to continue playing the song. She smiles as we rotate around her, revealing the skeleton in the far corner of the room, its limbs jostled in a juddering jig.
It's loving it.
Yeah.
And I love that we don't zoom in on it.
No.
She doesn't
Yeah.
turn back and look.
Yeah.
It's just happening in the background.
What's his house?
Yeah.
There.
As her song continues, the chords climbing in volume, we retreat outside, spying the house on the hill from a distance, glowing lights illuminating its many windows as a full moon hangs high overhead. But in the upstairs bedroom, Gorgeous searches through the drawers of her auntie's vanity, browsing through the various items she finds until a tube of lipstick catches her eye. She twists its bottom, tracing her lips in a ravishing red hue. But as she stares at her reflection, it suddenly gives way to a landscape of barren trees, Ryoko's scarf whipping wildly in a wicked wind. Gorgeous recalls the words from her auntie's letter. Your aunt has been waiting for your letter for years. Come see me. Come to my house, Gorgeous. And as Melody's song echoes from a distant room, Gorgeous's reflection suddenly shifts to that of her auntie, dressed identically to her and holding the exact same posture. This sight startles Gorgeous, who glances over to the door behind her, assuming her auntie to have entered the room somehow. But realizing that she's still alone, she returns her focus to the mirror, where now she sees her own face again. But her reflection snarls a sinister smile of jagged teeth. Her aunt's face then returns to her, the woman gasping for air as her eyes widen in fear. We cut quickly to Blanche, who stalks the grounds of the house, and in the low light of the evening, her eyes twinkle in eerie green. So she can be anywhere, I guess.
Yeah, yes.
The glass of the mirror then shatters Auntie's reflection, each crack clattering like thunder as she lurches forward. She then lifts her head, a distant cackle echoing around Gorgeous as Auntie cries tears of blood, the red liquid raining down the sharp edges of the shattered mirror. Gorgeous stares unblinking at the horror before her, but suddenly, the soft flesh of her face begins to crumble away, revealing a raging fire beneath it, which soon overtakes her entire body. Her reflection before her, now a roaring inferno, Gorgeous can do nothing but raise a shocked hand to her mouth.
I love this visual so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would hang this as a painting.
Seriously.
Like, it is gorgeous.
Uh-huh.
It is.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I was confused at the beginning when the mirror started breaking everything. And I was like, oh shit, what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it reflected on her and she started to break, I was like, ah.
I know.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And again, we have these expectations. Like I said, I'm like, okay, well, Gorgeous is going to outlast all of them.
Yeah.
So to see this happen and for her to be so clearly dead,
Yeah.
it's like, what the hell is going to happen?
Yeah.
And also, we were just vibing to a dancing skeleton 2 seconds ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
And this is so like, it's like a sobering moment of, oh my God, because it's so sad and so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like we're still going more places after this.
But downstairs, Melody is still playing her lullaby, the camera encircling her as the skeleton dances on. But when we settle over her shoulder, we discover colorful lights flickering beneath the keys in front of her. And unbeknownst to her, Blanche has now entered the parlor, balancing over the fish tank as her eyes shine a supernatural green. Suddenly, all of the keys now glow beneath Melody's fingers, the girl continuing to gaze forward to follow the sheet music. But in the shed, Sweet finally snaps out of her trance. You guys remember Sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my note is, I forgot about her.
I did too.
She climbs a small ladder next to the doll to switch on an overhead light, but upon doing so, she hears Blanche enter the small room, calling out to the cat as Prof's words on the train return to her. Any old cat can open a door, but only a witch cat can close a door. The door then slides shut.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I think we got one of them witch cats.
Yeah.
Blanche then blasts Sweet with her green glowing eyes, the keys growing discordant in the parlor as a flurry of feathers suddenly bursts from the beam of the overhead light. Sweet screams, as does Melody, which Prof and Fantasy hear in the kitchen. Kung Fu returns inside, still skirtless, as the trio races into the parlor to help their friend. But as they race for Melody, Fantasy stops when she hears Sweet's continued cries, rushing off all alone to help her. But in the shed, we spy Sweet through the bottom of the floor, the girl in a fearful frenzy as she's beaten senseless by a barrage of bedding. Blankets, pillows, and comforters pummeling her to the floor.
That was crazy as fuck.
I'm sorry, if I gotta be beaten up by anything, it's not that bad.
I'd prefer this, but
And I thought it was so cool, the shooting through the glass floor.
yeah.
That's so cool. And it's something that Breaking Bad does all the time, too.
Yeah.
Old tricks are new again, or whatever they say. But Fantasy reaches the closed door of the shed, ornate gold carvings of a cat perched on either side of her and seeming to mule and morph as she struggles to get the door open. She spies the ordeal through the slat of the door, fear finding her firmly. But in the parlor, Prof and Kung Fu tend to the wounded Melody, applying bandages to her fingers. Melody trembles that it was as if the piano bit her.
The baby looked at you?
Yeah.
Damn piano took a bite out of me.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. Keeping in line with all the scares that have come before, this is also something that Shigumi Obayashi feared whenever she started to take piano lessons.
Oh, shit.
She said that, I guess, whenever she would mess up the keys, her piano instructor would kind of slap her hand. And it made her think, whenever she was playing, what if the piano bit me? And Obayashi is like, I see.
Yeah.
Go on.
But Melody's friends respond with disbelief, snarking that she sounds like Fantasy now. And almost on cue, a frightened Fantasy finds them there, screaming for them to come quick, that it's terrible. When they don't believe her, she says that it's Sweet, the mattresses. Kung Fu's like, she's sleeping? Or... But Fantasy seizes her by the wrist, pulling her with her, and Prof follows. Melody steps forward to join them, but a gurgle emanates from within her, and she stops dead in her tracks, her head tilting as she remains there, frozen. But Fantasy, Prof, and Kung Fu enter the shed, finding nothing but disarray beneath a rain of feathers. But their search is interrupted when Melody calls out for Fantasy from the parlor. As Kung Fu and Prof continue looking for Sweet, they implore Fantasy to go check on Melody. But Fantasy begs them to go with her. She can't go alone. Kung Fu just throws a pillow at her, telling her that she must. Reluctantly, and to the tune of some really funky music in the score,
Yeah.
Fantasy makes her way through the hall and back into the parlor, calling out for Melody. We pan across plants, encircling Fantasy's path that leads her onto the porch. Her search seemingly fruitless, she stands there, puzzled, until a nearby door slides open, Melody's hand beckoning her forward. A trepidatious Fantasy creeps closer, only for the door of the outhouse to open, Melody sticking out her head and asking Fantasy to bring her some toilet paper.
That's
Come
hilarious.
on.
It was just the bubble guts.
Yeah. I know we're all scared.
But in the shed, beneath the toppled bedding, Prof discovers Sweet's apron and her bra. When they find her dress as well, Prof can only wonder, was she stripping in here? Fantasy and Melody rejoin them, but when they unfold a blanket resting on the floor, they uncover not only Blanche, but the porcelain doll that entranced Sweet, which now lies naked upon the soft covering. Prof reaches for Blanche, wondering what she could be doing in here, but Fantasy realizes how peculiar it is that the doll has been stripped too. She never knew what the doll was wearing. I just want to point that out.
That's true.
And it's really funny that Blanche can do anything that she wants, but she's like, no, I want them to find me.
Yeah.
Melody then finds Sweet's panties, the group puzzled when she takes a whiff of them, noting that they smell funny.
What the hell?
I hope it's supernatural. I don't know.
Why are we doing this at all?
Fantasy promises that she saw what happened. The mattresses and the sheets were attacking her. But nobody pays Fantasy any mind. Melody supposing that Sweet is probably just off to the bath.
It's very quick to check if that's true.
Yeah.
We can find that out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Kung Fu exits to go check. But Fantasy, now clutching the naked doll, reminds the group that Mac is gone too. She fears that soon, all of them will disappear. She whines, "What do we do?" But Prof comforts her, promising that it'll be okay, and in fact, her love, Mr. Togo, will be coming soon too. Prof says that he's a man, and he can help them. But Melody takes it a step further. He'll be the knight in shining armor, coming to save the damsel in distress. Fantasy imagines this in her mind's eye, Togo riding through a vibrant field on the back of a white horse, dressed in regal red, a triumphant trumpet sounding as he shouts, "Oh, my lovely princess Fantasy!" Fantasy, wearing a flowing white gown, rejoices at the sight of her savior, Togo lifting her up onto the horse as they confess their love for each other. And as they ride past the camera, Fantasy smiles sweetly as she stares down Lynn's, red text flashing beneath her on screen. The end. She smiles sweetly.
It brought her comfort for a second at least.
Yeah.
This was cracking me up. It's like, this is exactly who she is.
Yes.
But she smiles just as sweetly in the shed, Kung Fu's return snapping her out of her fairy tale. Kung Fu notes that it's strange. Sweet wasn't in the bath. But then she remembers it was Gorgeous who was taking a bath, and the girls realize that they haven't seen her in a long time either. Fantasy supposes that she must be putting on makeup as usual, and Prof deduces that she must be upstairs then. I don't know the connection to that, but that's fine.
you guys really got to stop just kind of like throwing things to the side. It's okay. They're eating. Or they're over there. Or you're in the back. It's like, come on, dude. You guys hang out all the time. I think that's my only little thing. It's like, come on, you guys. If you are, I understand it's comedy. We got whatever, but it's like you guys know each other a little better than that.
You know how your friends are going to react to things.
Yeah.
And why has nobody asked where Auntie is?
Oh yeah, no,
Like, we don't give a fuck about it.
She's just outright eating hands and shit in the other room. The four of them race upstairs, but instead of Gorgeous, they only find her white gown discarded on the floor. But peering into the now mended mirror, they discover Gorgeous in the reflected glass, creeping her way toward them from the opposite corner of the room, now wearing a different white dress. They collect her, admitting that they were worried sick, and guiding her down the stairs. We follow behind them, the shot seeming to stutter, as Melody reminds the group that Togo will be coming soon, and they just have to be patient. Gorgeous seems confused by this name. Togo? Kung Fu reminds her, yeah, in his old buggy. Gorgeous finds this word unfamiliar as well, but when Melody snarks that he treats it like he's flying a plane, this word definitely rings a bell for Gorgeous, who stops at the stairs landing as she repeats, plane? And we hear the artillery of a military aircraft echoing in her mind. So it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, this is not good.
Yeah.
When Prof checks on her, Gorgeous assures her that it's nothing, and as the group reaches the bottom of the steps, Kung Fu suggests that they should call the police in the village, racing for the phone book with Melody. But the very calm Gorgeous steps forward, insisting that she'll make the call and talk to the police. As her friends surround her, Gorgeous lifts the receiver on the antique telephone, various voices emanating from the small speaker, crying out for help, screaming in fear and pain. But Gorgeous just dials the number, holding the receiver to her ear, before settling it down, regretfully telling the other girls that the phone is out of order.
Now, did you not hear that?
Yeah, what was
Or
that?
Did you like what?
I do not know. The wrong number.
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
You hear hell sometimes.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But Gorgeous then stalks her way over to the front door, insisting that she go to the police station alone and bring back help for the other girls. Fantasy is not a fan of this plan, trembling her worries to the others, but Kung Fu reminds her that they aren't being left alone. Auntie is still here with them. But we then hear Auntie's voice emanating from within Gorgeous as she promises, "I'll be back." Prof glances back to the staircase as if this voice is emanating from upstairs. Fantasy begs to be taken with her, but as Gorgeous steps outside with Blanche following close behind, Gorgeous orders the others to just stay here until she comes back. But as soon as she closes the door, Fantasy seeks to follow her out, and even Kung Fu reaches for the knob, unable to turn it. A mummy lurches forward into the frame. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
The further you get into
Yes. But this startles the shit out of Fantasy. They're unable to wrench the door open, so the girls retreat deeper into the house to escape onto the patio. But as soon as they reach the corridor to the porch, the large slats slide shut in front of them, one after the other, sealing them inside and preventing their exit. This sequence was awesome.
Yeah.
Prof realizes they're trapped. The score grows frenzied in a very goblin-like sort of way. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
The camera then travels throughout the house as each and every window clatters closed, and all the shutters seal themselves closed as well. An eerie fog gathers outside of the house, carrying with it a disembodied cackle that echoes into the night. This is Vanikit's Lockdown Protocol.
Yeah.
And again, you think about what goes into shooting a sequence like this where they have to control, because there were so many windows.
Yes.
It was incredible.
Yeah, this did look really, really cool.
But Gorgeous glides through the haze surrounding the grounds, a soft song pulsing in the score as she continues onward. Orbs float over to her through the fog, and she catches them in her palms, juggling them in the evening air. This is a very cool visual, just the way that it looks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the one thing that could make it even cooler is if whenever we saw that flashback to before the war,
Yeah.
it was Auntie that was juggling.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
But this soon gives way to the bright lights of traffic in Tokyo, where Togo rests in his dune buggy, inspiring the ire of Ramen Trucker, played by Shoichi Hirose. He shouts for Togo to get that toy car of his off the road. Togo apologizes, but the trucker just seethes behind him. So we haven't checked in with Togo in a while.
Yeah.
I was honestly surprised to see him. I didn't think we'd ever see him again.
Me neither.
The way that this house is really, it's like encapsulated everything that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it's just going to be us here. And so cutting to traffic
Yeah.
and people like having fucking road rage. And
Well, he's trying to get there.
He
he's
is.
trying.
Dude, and it can't be easy sitting there after that bucket was on his ass.
Yeah.
But back in the house, Kung Fu switches on an overhead light in the dining room as Prof tries to pry the patio doors open. She shudders. This is like an occult movie. But when Kung Fu tells her to step aside so she can try, Prof amends this. This is like a karate movie. Kung Fu's theme plays as she gives it her best shot, beating the absolute shit out of the barrier to no avail. Prof urges her to give it up as it isn't budging, and as the pair pace around the room, Prof insists that there must be some kind of a device. She supposes that since Auntie lives alone, the doors must close automatically at night.
Who built this place, Mr. Reed? What are you talking about?
Kung Fu wonders if Auntie could do that, but this is when Melody joins the pacing with the fearful fantasy clutching her waist, adding that Auntie is educated. She graduated from a music school in Tokyo. An idea finally finds Prof, stopping the procession. I've got it! We'll ask her how to open them. I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
It's very funny to me. And I love this very playful circle.
Right.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But the girls retreat back to the parlor in search of Auntie, switching on the lights with their search proving unsuccessful. But in the cabinet near to the skeleton, where Auntie snagged the colorful liquids for her potions, Prof discovers a human hand floating in a jar. When Kung Fu reaches for it, they realize that floating in the liquid with this severed limb is Mac's green ribbon.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm just like right out in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're never going to look in my
No.
cabinet. Fantasy screams as Prof paces over to the piano, attempting to come up with some kind of logical explanation. But when she comes up fruitless, she suggests for Melody to play the piano to cheer them up. The camera pulls back from a nearby shelf, where beneath a painting of Blanche rests a series of small figurines bearing the cat's likeness as well. I feel like the merchandising could have been amazing on this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Melody initially refuses to play, but Kung Fu urges her onward with a pat on her butt. Melody scolds Kung Fu, but eventually relents, taking a seat at the bench and performing the lullaby for them. As the metronome ticks away, Fantasy wonders why Gorgeous hasn't returned yet, and Kung Fu realizes that things are going exactly as Fantasy imagined. Even Prof has to acknowledge that too many strange things are happening one after another. But when asked what she's thinking, Prof refuses to share it, as she's not completely sure what to make of the recent events yet. She adds, besides, Fantasy would pass out. The camera pans left to right, settling on each of the girls as Melody continues to play. But suddenly, a voice starts to hum along with the lullaby. Prof recognizes this voice as Gorgeous. Fantasy rejoices. You're right! But when did she come back? Melody continues to play as the other girls call out to Gorgeous, and when Kung Fu and Prof exit to investigate, Fantasy offers to stay behind with Melody. The two girls head up the stairs, and Fantasy returns to Melody at the bench, clutching her shoulders. But when Melody won't turn to face her, Fantasy pleads desperately for her friend to turn around and look at her. The keys illuminate an eerie red, the light slowly encircling Melody against Fantasy's fearful shouts. But upstairs, Prof's flashlight carves its way through the darkness of the bedroom, the beam catching the white hem of a bridal gown and climbing it to discover the figure wearing it is facing away from them. But when she turns to peer at Kung Fu and Prof from beneath her veil, we see it is indeed gorgeous, dressed in her mother's wedding clothes and made up to look just like her on her special day. But downstairs, Melody screams as the chords grow cacophonous beneath her fingers, Fantasy frantically trying to pull her away from the piano.
Thinking about it right now, if I'm Fantasy, I'd be so mad. My friend left, came back singing. You were supposed to go find help. Now you're singing upstairs. Now we're splitting up. I'm trying to get you to turn around so you can come with me. And from what I can tell, you're ignoring me.
I would feel like I had the worst luck in the world because it's like everything gets weird as soon as everybody leaves and I'm all alone.
Yes.
And no one believes me ever.
No.
And everything was just fine with Melody 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And the second you leave, she's like, all right, I'm in a trance now. But the fall board suddenly slams shut, Fantasy tumbling backwards and watching fearfully from behind the fish tank as the music stops. Melody slowly pulls her hands free, holding them up in front of her face, and we see that each finger is torn away unevenly, blood pouring from the ragged flesh that rests at her knuckles. A shocked Fantasy goes cross-eyed as Melody realizes with a smile, "My fingers are gone!" A jovial tune begins to play on the piano as Melody is soon surrounded by alternating waves of colorful light, blue, red, yellow. The skeleton behind her offers a jolly dance, which we all appreciate. But the new rhythm persists as the fall board clatters shut again, this time upon Melody's wrist. The girl screams in vibrant pain when she pulls back even less of her left limb.
She was really taking it in stride before that happened.
Yeah. You gotta look on the bright side.
Yeah.
The colorful lights flash all around her as the fall board yawns open like a mouth, slurping Melody inside, the girl struggling against the piano wire beneath the lid as she is swallowed whole. The lid then slams shut, chopping Melody's arm off at the shoulder, blood splattering against the walls, and the appendage flying across the room to land in the fish tank in front of Fantasy. Melody's body writhes a twisted mess within the piano, her severed and naked torso floating around the room as her legs kick incessantly over the keys. Her disembodied head levitates out of the instrument, glancing downward at her own legs and offering, "Oh my, that's naughty."
You're having a lot of fun, Deb.
Yeah. I loved every bit of this. Even the kind of payoff of her being like, I feel like it bit me. And then it fully eats her like 20 minutes later.
But upstairs, as Gorgeous creeps deeper into the room, the long hem of her dress unveils a book resting on the carpeted floor, which Prof rushes to retrieve. Etched into the cover, along with an outline of Blanche, naturally, is the title, Lonely Days. Kung Fu rushes over to Gorgeous, but when Prof glances back and forth between the two girls and the mirror, she finds that only Kung Fu's reflection is cast into the glass.
This I liked.
Yeah.
A lot.
As Gorgeous exits into the next room, Kung Fu snatches Prof's flashlight to follow her, but Prof seems to be having an existential crisis, declaring, "It's unscientific, unexplainable, unnatural, unreasonable."
We don't have time for Stan Urazing right now. We don't. We do not.
Get with it.
Yeah.
Prof declares that it doesn't make sense. Compels her, though. No, that's not true. But in the next room, Kung Fu illuminates the grandfather clock at the far wall, where behind its opaque glass exterior, she spies Sweet, trapped within its grinding gears. As Sweet gazes at her through the glass, her voice echoes in Kung Fu's memory. "You're so cool, Kung Fu." A tear breaks free from Kung Fu's eye as she trembles within a sob. "I'm so sorry, Sweet." Prof joins her friend in the other room, shock and horror settling in as Sweet's blood begins to rain down the glass of the clock. Vibrant light is cast through the gears at the girls on the other side of the room, and a puzzled Prof wonders, can such things happen in this world? What do we do?
This made me think a little bit of kind of like how the Cenobites are sometimes, with the gears stuck inside them and like, you know what I mean,
shit,
bleeding.
yeah.
I was like, oh, that would suck.
That would suck. That would suck. You're so cool, Kung Fu made me think of Fright Night.
Hey!
Okay.
Yeah, this is really sad, and it's like striking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like a clock striking.
Very good.
Anyway.
This scare with the grandfather clock and not knowing where it is, but hearing it and being scared of it, this is something that, of course, came from Chigumi Obayashi.
Okay.
She said that whenever she would visit her grandparents,
Stop making her go.
I know.
I guess the clock would chime randomly and scare the hell out of her.
Yeah.
And so one of her fears was having to get up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water, to go use the bathroom, and the clock chiming. And so she told her father this, and Obayashi was like, I see.
He's like, every time you come back from there, why don't you go stay there for a couple weeks?
Yeah, it seems, I mean, we got some really good stuff
We
here,
did.
kid.
Just sounds like one long panic attack.
But the score grows frenetic as they race out of the room and downstairs together. But as they head for the parlor, they find Fantasy passed out on the floor in the doorway. The camera swirls above the piano as they enter the room, Kung Fu trying desperately to awaken Fantasy, but staggering back startled when she discovers what is left of Melody's gnarled arm right next to her on the ground. Prof, however, inches forward toward the blood-spattered piano as the lullaby starts to play, and there she watches in disbelief as Melody's severed fingers dance delicately across the keys. The fallboard closes as they stumble towards the song's clumsy conclusion.
I love this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes.
I feel like there are so many visuals that you see for the first time and you have not seen anything like it in a film before.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that this is going to stay with you forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's so many things in this film that I'm like, these are things it's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's a poster, you know? I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But having seen enough, Kung Fu and Prof carry Fantasy out of the parlor and into the dining room to rouse her from her unconscious state. Prof pours her a cup of water as she stirs awake, Kung Fu imploring the fearful Fantasy that she has to be strong. Fantasy mumbles Melody's name mournfully as Prof admits that she was right. This is a haunted house. But as she unties Fantasy's apron, she discovers the goldfish from the fish tank underneath on top of her shirt. They tumble to the floor as she sits up, Prof revealing that even Gorgeous is a ghost now.
That's hilarious. Just like it even happened to the main character.
Yeah, dude. It is funny that they're keeping her up to date. They're like, while you were out. Fantasy refuses to believe this, and as the fish flop on the floor next to her, Prof just implores her to cooperate with them, whether she believes them or not. Kung Fu insists that this is the only way that they'll survive, but as Fantasy catches her breath, she looks to her right, where suddenly an uncredited man leans into the frame, slurping ramen noodles. We're immediately transported to a random restaurant, where Mr. Togo is handed his own bowl of noodles, digging into it and giving his compliments to the chef.
I loved that transition because it's already like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
fact that this dude's just eating his dinner while they're fighting for their fucking lives is really funny.
And you get to a point where so much weird shit is happening that you don't even ask. You're like, why is this guy's sous chef a bear? Because it is.
You know,
Yes, yeah.
But
You're
that's
just like, okay.
fine.
Yeah, straight up, I accepted it.
It's like, you
Like,
sure?
just straight accepted it. It's like, oh, all right.
It's the least weird thing we've
Yeah.
seen all night.
Maybe they got the bear because remember that was supposed to be supposed to be the new Jaws.
That's
true.
right.
Toho's like, we have one request.
Yeah.
We gotta put him somewhere.
We've already hired the bear. But back in the house, the girls work together to build a barricade of furniture at the top of the staircase. They retreat back into the dining room, where Prof reads from Auntie's diary. Through a bright pink filter, we spy Auntie kneeling at her triptych mirror, applying her lipstick. She begins to grow older before our very eyes, and even dons the bridal gown that she never got to wear, before finally we see her as we met her, weary and white-haired, the surrounding room now covered in cobwebs. Auntie turns to look at us, offering a smile, but bearing nothing more than a toothless grin. And again, I think each time that they do something like this, you know and you see all the moves, but the result of what they're doing is always so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also, this is the whole story right here. We're getting it, finally.
Yeah.
Prof reads, "There are no young girls in the village anymore. I'm all alone, but I'll keep waiting for him in this house. He wasn't killed in the war. I know he'll come back because he promised." Fantasy and Kung Fu crowd around to peer at the pitiable pages, but above them, the light fixture begins to flicker before dipping to darkness. Gorgeous's voice calls out, "Fantasy." Fantasy answers her friend curiously. "What's the matter, Gorgeous?" It's like, I told you, dude, she's dead.
Yeah.
But amidst flashes of lightning and crackles of thunder, Gorgeous reappears, her now giant visage joining the girls in the room. She leans into the frame, startling her friends and revealing that she is now in her auntie's world. Gorgeous's gargantuan face disappears, only for her lips to return alone, floating massive toward her friends as she continues. "She died many years ago." I did laugh because once her lips appeared, they go, "It's her lips!" So, yeah,
Thank
dude.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And the giant head appearing, it put me in the mind, is it Silent Hill, The Room?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
It made me think of that.
Okay.
But trinkets and tableware begin to levitate around the group as Gorgeous's lips disappear, and we spy her in this other world, which is filled with lightning, barren trees, and butterflies. The girls wonder, if Auntie was dead, then who did they meet? As a nearby door slides open, Kung Fu takes a defensive stance. Gorgeous's eye looms large in the corridor, her soft voice explaining that Auntie wanted to be married so badly that her body remained alive after her death, and that she eats all of the unmarried girls who come here. This is the only time she can wear her bridal gown. Outside, the house stretches upward, growing ghastly and towering tall, framed by withered weeds under the glow of the moon. 2 upstairs windows illuminate like ever-watchful eyes until the manor suddenly transforms into Gorgeous, wearing her bridal gown, her arms raised at her side, and the sky becoming blood red behind her. As we travel back into the house, various items whipping around the room, Gorgeous reveals, "Now, it's your turn. Just let me eat you." Blanche's portrait grows feral at the opposite side of the room, her feline eyes shining bright and her teeth bared in a fierce snarl. Fantasy and Prof cower from the swirling debris, but Kung Fu defends herself, refusing to give in. When Fantasy begs for Gorgeous to stop, Kung Fu counters that this isn't the Gorgeous they knew. She snags a broken door and uses it as a shield for her and her friends, as Fantasy bitterly recounts the lies that Auntie told them all evening. This is an odd time to feel offended by that, I will say.
It's like, this is fucking bullshit.
But Kung Fu breaks free from the room, leading the charge against the haunted house as she races from the dining room to phone the police. But she does have time for a vanity shot, catching an umbrella and striking a post.
Yeah.
She assures her friends, "Leave it to me." She bursts into the living room, rushing for the phone book, and as she tears through its pages, the receiver lifts from the antique telephone, wrapping itself around her neck. It is funny that she needed the phone book to call the police.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she struggles against the cord and is finally able to free herself with a swift roundhouse kick to destroy the base of the phone, which explodes in a brilliant rain of sparks. But just as soon as she's made short work of this telephone foe, the mummy returns. Kung Fu makes short work of the monster as she charges right for it, sending it sailing through a mummy-shaped hole in the wall and out into the foggy courtyard. She rids herself of the telephone cord wrapped around her, but before she can even catch her breath, she endures an aerial assault from Auntie's bridal gown. Kung Fu is able to flip out of the way, somersaulting over a slatted gate, but when she lands on the other side, a pale face appears framed within the fabric of the gown. It's gorgeous. Kung Fu strikes a fighting stance, beckoning, "Come on, ghost." But we then find Togo on a rather calm evening drive. A wild cut.
It is, because Kung Fu's in there being a beast. Then we come over here and he's...
To the hero.
Yeah.
Quote
countryside.
unquote.
It's nice outside.
Belly full of ramen.
Yeah.
And Togo's dune buggy passes the bus stop where the girls arrived, and he finally reaches where he thinks the house should be, but he finds nothing there. Meanwhile, at the house, Kung Fu tumbles through the fog with the ghostly Gorgeous, kicking her apparition ass, but the specter seems to have an answer for each and every strike. Prof continues reading Auntie's diary, making a rather crucial connection. "I'll be here waiting with Blanche in my arms, with Blanche in this house." Blanche!
Oh my God. What?
It's like, she's the smart one? Gorgeous slashes across Kung Fu's face, the fighter bathed in multicolored light, before she's sent crashing through the wall and tumbling back into the dining room with the others. A series of dramatic crash zooms center on the painting of Blanche at the far wall, Prof directing Kung Fu to destroy it. She sets out to do just that, but before she can reach it, the light fixture lowers itself to crash right onto her head, lifting her up and electrocuting her. Her legs kick violently as she's thrashed around the room, Prof and Fantasy taking way too long to try to help her.
Yeah.
Well, they're used to her handling everything.
That's true.
But it's far too late when they try to reach for her, and as Blanche's painting snarls fiercely, Kung Fu swirls within another world, swallowed by bright light and chaotic colors, before we find her disembodied head floating amongst a blue backdrop within a sea of scribbled faces. Her voice weakly intones, "Mac, sweet, Melody?" And we spy the dissected bodies of her friends, their floating limbs, decapitated heads, and naked torsos gliding endlessly through fields of flowers, vicious vines, the morose moonlight, and a sizzling skull. But Kung Fu, the badass that she is, summons what's left of her spirit, sending her disembodied legs flying free from the light fixture to deliver a certain kick into the center of the painting. The spirit of Blanche rises cartoonish from the canvas in one of the most adorable things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The frame then falls apart, with Kung Fu's theme playing, as Gorgeous seems to feel this strike upstairs in Auntie's bedroom. Blanche rests in her arms, letting loose a pained meow before falling limp.
I'm like, dude, even after all the shit you did, I'm sad.
Yeah.
In the dining room, the painting tears into pieces, blood spurting from the painted feline's mouth. Prof rejoices that they've done it. But upstairs, gorgeous shrieks in agony, the covering of her bridal gown torn from her shoulders, blood now pouring from within the remaining fabric and imbuing its purity. Downstairs, Kung Fu's legs traipse over to a nearby dresser, floating inside the drawers, which slam shut at their arrival, only to open and close incessantly, devouring her limbs and bursting open to rain her blood upon Fantasy and Prof.
I don't know what was going on there. That was crazy.
The house is hungry, I guess.
It is.
Give me that leg, girl. But Prof retreats to the passages in Auntie's diary, unable to decipher their next move. But suddenly, beneath them, the floor breaks apart, revealing a sea of blood, the girls floating upon it frightfully as Fantasy begs for Togo to save them. Prof offers, maybe he isn't coming.
It's like, girl, you got to let that go.
The floor is breaking apart. This is real bad.
But Fantasy snaps back that he promised. Prof doesn't recall this, and most importantly, even if he promised Fantasy, he never promised Auntie or the house. Meanwhile, Togo continues on through the forest, his headlights carving a path ahead of him as lively music plays on his car radio. He finally reaches the watermelon stand, where the farmer sits on a stoop, getting high on his own supply.
And who can blame him?
Right?
Togo asks for directions to the house, but the farmer rises from his seat, revealing that the girls were eaten. He takes a chomp of his watermelon before adding, delicious! He asks Togo if he likes watermelon. And Togo answers in a shout, no!
Why?
The farmer asks what he does like, and Togo answers in a shriek, bananas! The farmer then stumbles back, his body crumbling cartoonishly into a skeleton. His skull floats above his pile of bones, sailing right for Togo.
I also couldn't believe that anybody didn't like watermelon.
Yeah,
but
no.
I feel like this was a little bit of an overreaction.
Yeah.
Again, what is this person's role in all of this? Because he seems to know exactly what's going on up in that house.
Right.
My thought, I don't know if you had the same, is that he's a part of the house.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
It's okay.
That was like, I guess he's just kind of like the doorman. He's there.
Yes.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
okay,
He's
that
right
makes
there.
sense. When they rolled up on him, I thought it was going to be like a Crazy Ralph situation, but he's like, "Oh no, the lady's up there." Like, oh, I was like, "Oh, that's odd."
But Togo cowers in fear into the front seat of his dune buggy, repeating over and over again as he writhes, "Bananas! Bananas everywhere! Bananas! Bananas!" This film is bananas.
Yeah.
It is.
This is very cartoon.
Yes.
His, I don't know what they're doing with the film where they're rolling it back and he just keeps...
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
bonking his
just
head.
Sure. And what an arc for this fucking character.
I know.
Do you want to know what I thought was going to happen?
Huh.
Because Auntie can't rest because she's waiting for her fiance to come back because he promised that he would come back. And Fantasy has this idealized version of Togo, and she's like, oh no, he's coming. He promised. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. So I thought Togo was going to show up, and Auntie was like going to take him as her groom, and that she would finally be able to rest, but she would take Togo with her. Maybe the girls would come back. Maybe they wouldn't, but she would finally be able to rest, and the house would stop. And so for him to get as far as the watermelon man and succumb to bananas or whatever the fuck is happening, it really threw me for a loop because I had a pretty clear, because it seemed like it was a parallel situation.
Right.
But no.
No.
Well, he was never going to show up. It was a fantasy.
It was a fantasy.
Very good. But honestly, I mean, I think that that's something that they do really well is this misdirection.
Yeah.
Because we all thought the same thing with Gorgeous. We're like, oh, it's going to be her and Auntie at the end.
Yeah.
And Gorgeous is already kind of out of the picture, really.
Mhm.
But beneath red light, floating on a raft of broken floor, Prof sits next to a fearful fantasy, continuing to read Auntie's diary. Gorgeous wrote to me, "A young girl is visiting me again. I'll send Blanche for her." Prof now understands that it was all Auntie's plan. But before she can relay this to Fantasy, a pulse of Blanche's magic knocks the glasses off of Prof's face and into the water. She reaches for them blindly, only for her hand to be chomped by a glass jar, which now has sharp teeth inside of it.
Come on,
Oh
man.
my God.
It's just mean.
I can't do shit.
No.
Prof is pulled into the water, Fantasy screaming for her friend, only for the jar to float up upon the surface of the water, wearing Prof's glasses. That's just cruel.
Right hand, you're an asshole.
Yes.
But Prof then rises from the rushing blood, slipping free from her dress, swimming nude and majestic within its depths. The score goes solemn as her body twists in the water, slowly disintegrating until she completely dissolves.
So he talked about how they were able to accomplish this. Literally, they suspended the actress and poured tubs of blue paint on her. And against the blue screen, the paint sliding over her body was rendering it invisible because it's against the blue screen. So literally all they did was dump paint on her.
Okay.
And
That's
it looks
wild.
Yeah.
it looks incredible.
Yeah. So again, though, this was also part of the plan to dissolve her in the fucking
Sure.
house water or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she's improvising. I don't know.
She's
So it's
going
got
off
too
book.
far,
Yeah.
But Gorgeous, now returned to full strength, grins deviously as she pets the meowing Blanche, both of them still sitting in front of the triptych mirror. Fantasy floats fearfully through the sea of blood, paddling her way to the staircase just as Gorgeous descends it, taking a seat at the edge of the steps in her white wedding gown. Fantasy reaches for her desperately, grateful that it wasn't true, that Gorgeous isn't a ghost. Her hand slips down the collar of Gorgeous's dress, tearing it open and revealing her bare breasts beneath. Fantasy stares stunned as Gorgeous slowly transforms into Auntie before her very eyes. She begs for it not to be true, breathlessly calling her friend's name as Auntie pulls her off the raft. She settles into Gorgeous's warm embrace, her head resting at her breast as a smile suddenly stretches across her face. Fantasy breathes, "I want to sleep, Mommy." Gorgeous strokes her hair sweetly as Fantasy slips into the eternal sleep she craved. But Gorgeous looks up at us, staring down Lynn's as her eyes begin to shimmer the supernatural green.
So is the cat demon and Gorgeous / Ant? I don't know. I'm right. 'Cause
It's both.
it's right.
Yeah. They share the power. She's generating most of the power. I don't know. I think, and it's one of those things that I think that you just have to
It just
accept
is
at
what
some
it
point.
is.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
we've gone through a lot together,
Yes.
and I think But that next morning, Ryoko arrives as promised, her white scarf billowing in the breeze as she speeds to a stop in her convertible. And I think it's safe to say that we all forgot about her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So many wild things have happened. I didn't even know what is going to happen at the end. It's like, oh yeah, a whole fucking character they introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she flat out said, I'm going to go out there and talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing as well is this is literally the next day. But she parks behind Togo's dune buggy at the watermelon stand, the camera arcing around his vehicle, where instead of Togo, we discover a tall bunch of bananas settled into the driver's seat and wearing Togo's hat.
What the hell?
I know. What?
He's like, you got it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Dude, be careful when anybody asks you that.
So you like donuts, huh?
But an uplifting song plays in the score as Ryoko magically makes her way across the valley and over to Auntie's house on the hill. She enters through the gate, past the greenery of the entryway, and for the front door, surveying her surroundings with great wonder. When it doesn't open, she enters the courtyard, kindly calling out for anyone to hear her. But when she receives no answer, she paces around the peaceful space, taking a moment to admire the sprawling growth of white flowers. But as she lingers, gazing longingly into the garden, the patio door suddenly slides open behind her. And there stands Gorgeous in a white floral kimono, offering a pleasant greeting to Ryoko.
Gulp.
I know.
After Gorgeous slides open the remaining doors, the pair share a smile as she politely invites Ryoko inside. And this is the moment that you remember. They were reading in the book and they're figuring out the motivation of all of this. Unmarried women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is something they have established at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they sit across from each other on soft cushions, and after a moment, Ryoko asks, "Where are your friends? Still sleeping?" Gorgeous answers with a smirk and a silent nod, but glancing around the room, she supposes that they'll be up soon, that they'll be hungry. Her voice seeming to double, she adds, "They wake up when they're hungry."
That's great.
Yeah.
The innocent Ryoko accepts this, extending her hand for Gorgeous to shake. She's like, that sounds great. I was like, hey, that wasn't the scariest thing you've ever heard in your life.
Super honest.
We watch as Blanche passes them by, a light breeze catching Ryoko's scarf, and once her hand reaches Gorgeous's in a shake, the younger woman's eyes flicker a ghastly green, and Ryoko suddenly bursts into flames, the fire burning brightly and engulfing her entirely. After a moment, Blanche occupies her now empty cushion. A small, distant voice calls Gorgeous's name as she stands before us, her long hair flowing in the wind, as she's surrounded by a glowing green light, her soft features framed in a delicate purple, as Auntie's voice concludes. Even after the flesh perishes, one can live in the hearts of others, together with the feelings one has for them. Therefore, the story of love must be told many times, so that the spirits of lovers may live forever. Forever. The one thing that never perishes, the only promise, is love. The credits roll as Gorgeous now frolics jovially in a vibrant field, the memory of her friends finding her through the deep blue sky. So, what did you guys think of House?
I had a lot of fun discussing this with you guys. I had a lot of fun watching it. I'll be honest, I would probably watch this again right after we're done. Like,
Wow.
I do like it. I like it a lot. Talking about it, there's a few things that kind of not, I don't want to say dulled it for me, but there is kind of a like, why did you guys just keep assuming that your friends were safe and healthy somewhere else? Why didn't you go look for them? And then when you did, you were still like, la, 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 it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I get it. It is comedy horror, and that's my shit. So I was like, that's fine. Other than that, I mean, man, I feel like there's so many things that you can say, but that shouldn't be said. Again, you can tell there's a matte painting in some of the places. You can tell the green screen or the blue screen or whatever. You can tell a fake head. You can a fake watermelon, whatever. I don't give a shit. Everything about it that this movie does, I don't care about those things. I don't care that they're there. I'm immersed in this fucking world and this whatever's going on. And it's like, oh, that was super cool. Oh my God, that was crazy. You did what now? Holy shit. This movie does a really good job for me anyway of making me forget that those things are there, or making me forget any of it is just, I don't want this to be polished. I want it to be like jazz. Just do it. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Feel it and just do it. And for me, that's the strength of this movie for me. And I really fucking had a good time watching it and talking about it. Like I said, there's a few things that are kind of like, I'm going to throw popcorn at the TV and like, oh, well, you know. But again, if I didn't feel that, then I would, you know what I mean? The movie's making me feel those things. You know what I mean? And yeah, like I said, the gripe here and there, I don't give a shit. Good fucking show.
Yeah, I feel like those instances are like frustrating, but also like if you're looking at this in the context of a fairy tale, why did the fairy tale logic does not apply?
Right.
Why are we eating a house that we found in the woods? Like you could like it defies. Well, what the hell is this? Should we, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think about that. You don't think about, Mac hasn't been back all fucking night. You just keep washing the floors. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, it's fairy tale logic where it is annoying and kind of frustrating, but it's like, the story wouldn't propel forward if everybody's like, no, everybody link arms. We're not fucking doing anything until we find Mac. It's just, you got to keep the story going.
Auntie's like, shit.
Yeah. God damn it. But I mean, I think that it is, like you said, it is just a really fun time. There are these kind of shocking moments of, I don't know, just sadness or like really striking visuals. Like, I think that Prof's death is really like beautiful and serene. And then you have Melody getting chomped to death by a fucking piano. It's just really got everything. You have that dancing skeleton. You have this cat that is somehow manipulating and controlling everything. Yeah. You have Auntie gnawing on a fucking hand, kind of in plain sight. You have a disembodied head of their friend biting somebody in the ass. You have everything. Like you really run the spectrum of ridiculous, silly, I have a bucket stuck on my ass, so I'm not going to make the train, all the way to...
He's bananas.
Yes. All the way to gorgeous sitting in flames in front of this cracked mirror. And it just being this really striking and beautiful visual that you carry with you after the credits roll. Mm-hmm. You really can't ask for more. And do all of those things gel together? For me, they do. I can absolutely see someone being like, this is fucking nonsense. What are you talking about? Yeah. I totally get that because it is kind of nonsense, but it's nonsense in a way that is enjoyable to me, to us, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know. This was a lot of fun. Again, the only thing I knew about it aside from the art is that it's wild and that it's it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. And it still, that being the only thing I knew about it, I was like, this is fucking all over the place. Yeah. Like in the best way. I loved the music. I loved the effects. But even like, especially the effects where you see exactly how they're doing it. You know that head is bobbing on a string. Mm-hmm. You know that cat was just tossed into that lady's lap. Just things where it's like, oh, we're just... throwing it to the wind. You know what I mean? Like you get it or you don't. And I liked it a lot. I really, really enjoyed this.
No, I absolutely agree. I feel like that's the perfect word to describe it is wild.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just so you think about it, there's such surreal moments, there's heart-warming moments, there's heartbreaking moments, there's a lot of hilarity, but there's also a lot of horror.
Yeah.
There is this level of tragedy. And that's the thing. It can be so absurd sometimes and then so poignant in others. Mm-hmm. That sequence where we learn Auntie's fiance and what happened to him.
Yeah.
This really, really heartbreaking promise that her body is staying alive because of how deeply she believed him.
Yeah.
That there's something that they were right. It is romantic, but it's also really, really sad.
Yes.
And you watch it and you really run the gamut of emotions through this entire film. I think that it's one of the most interesting things that maybe I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so admirable to me that this creative filmmaker stuck to his guns. Toho is breathing down his neck and they're like, where's that bear film we have?
What the hell
Is going on? And he's like, no, I know what I'm doing. I know the film that I want to make.
Yeah.
The audience that I want to attract. And it's just so adorable that 99% of these ideas seemingly came from a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Hell yeah, it is.
And it's filtered through this lens and presented in such a way that it's like, I have never seen anything like this before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wholly original experience. If you watch this film, there is House and there is nothing like House.
Right.
And I think that that's a really hard thing to do, even in 1977.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like both houses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's right.
Well, we're talking about this house.
Right, we're not in that neighborhood.
We're no. But I don't know. I think the other thing about it is that every single time I watch it, I think I come away with it with more appreciation for it. And it's so interesting to me how we can have these moments where it's a disembodied head flipping through the air and biting someone in the ass. And then it's like, oh, we're having kind of real conversations about societal expectations and these ideas of this generational divide when it comes to war and how we react to such things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that it's a really special film. And something like this doesn't come along all the time.
No.
But I think we can slide into ratings. I really struggle to think of something that I didn't enjoy about this film.
Mm-hmm.
I know it isn't perfect, and I know, like we've all said, if somebody were to tell you, oh, this film doesn't make any sense and I don't like it, it's like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that just so.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, and?
Yeah. Well, it works for me.
Yeah.
And it is. I don't know. There's something about it that really does. And I know that if you look at it on paper, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's a level of skill and artistry that I can't even imagine, being able to take all these disparate parts and assemble it in such a way and have your cast and crew believe in you so much that they're able to make it all work. And they did. I'm really, really amazed by this. I love the seams that show. It's such an added charm to this film that is already overflowing with charm, period. I love these dancing skeletons so much. I love that adorable cat.
Yes.
More than I could ever put into words.
Yeah.
I think that they have so many elements and there's so much imagery that, again, you'll think about it later.
Oh, yeah.
You'll remember Mac, her head floating above and biting fantasy.
Yeah.
You'll remember Melody being sucked into this piano. You'll remember everything that goes on. Gorgeous goes through a lot in this
She
film.
does.
It's all so memorable and so impactful in a really interesting way. And the music.
Yes. Yes.
It is so good and it is so fucking catchy.
Yeah.
I've been thinking this main theme, I've been singing it in my head since I was working on this script.
No, it's so good.
I just can't get enough. And I don't give a shit what these critics were saying about the performances.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
I think they did exactly what needed to be done. And it
For
worked.
this, yeah.
I think that everything was exactly what the film needed, like we said before. This chaotic camera work, these wild sets. I don't know. There's really something very, very amazing about this film to me, and I really hope that more people watch it.
Yeah.
I think that as many times as I've seen it on those underappreciated or underseen lists, I hope that it'll get off of those lists.
Yeah.
Because this is really one to witness and to experience.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that that's all I have, really. I really am realizing how much I love this film.
Right.
And I think that in the future, it will probably be a 10 for me. But today, out of 10 conspicuously uncanny cats, I am going to give House, 1977, 9 conspicuously uncanny cats out of 10. Part of me's already regretting it. I think I might should give it a 10. I don't know, but we'll give it a 9 today.
Okay.
And I will now open the floor to you.
Yeah, no, this was definitely an experience. And that is one thing too, like you said, I would recommend anyone to watch it. If you don't like it, I apologize. If you do, you're welcome. I mean, it is one of those movies that I feel like trying to describe it, even us here talking about it, it is good and I had a good time, but visualizing, like you're saying, watching the movie and seeing exactly what the fuck we're talking about or what's going on in the movie, that's a whole ass different experience. And even on the rewatch that me and your sister did, I still was like, I know it's gonna come, but it doesn't matter. It was still like, that's cool. Oh wait, this is gonna happen. All right, hold on. Like you do. And again, that was the second time I watched this movie, and I was like, that's pretty cool. A movie does. I know a lot of times we do talk about how much movies will grab us or they don't or whatever. I do feel like this is one of those movies that if it grabs you, it's going to take a hold of you. You know what I mean? You're going to remember a lot of what's happening. But I think too, like you said, there's very few things I can complain or bitch about. But for that, and even that, we had a lot of fun, sitting here talking about it and listening to it. And I don't know. I came with the score in mind, but I do think also too, thinking about it, and if I don't really have much things to go back and say, why, I didn't really like this, or I didn't like it enough to voice my opinion on it, I think I can give it an extra 0.5. So for me, I don't think I know on a scale from 1 to 10. Conspicuously uncanny cats, I'm going to give House 1977 a 9 out of 10 conspicuously uncanny cats. I was coming with an 8.5. I like everything here.
Yeah.
Again, I like B horror. I like silly. I like comedy, horror comedy. You know what I mean? I enjoy the shit out of it. To me, this has everything there.
Yeah.
It has everything there. And it works. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. This one really fucking worked. Why or how? I don't know. But it did. And I'm not going to complain, and I will not question it.
No.
Don't look the gift cat in the meow.
Yes. How this was somebody's directorial debut is
wild.
insane.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of y'all. I think it is one of those things where it doesn't matter why it works, just that it does.
Yes.
And I'm thankful that it does. I totally, like I said, agree with both of you. I think it is one of those things where after a couple more watches, this probably would be a perfect 10 to me. But as of right now, on a scale from 1 to 10, conspicuously uncanny cats, I will be joining the both of you in giving House 1977 9 out of 10 conspicuously uncanny cats. This was a fucking ride.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we're ending the year.
We are.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate House, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at JuggaloDaddy84. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll gain access to over 250 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Pod Mortem and Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, even when you build your life on a foundation of love, bitterness and jealousy can tear down the walls brick by brick. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special thank you to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo, yeah.
Amazing work. A special thank you to
Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Thomas, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhart, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Itzy M, Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G, Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J, Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xxena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O, Marissa E, Henry F, Megan M, Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Erica Morin, Tris Wynn, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A, Lonnie Lono, Powell, Kayla E, Maggie H, Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy,
Ori 81 Boricua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez 63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J, Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K, Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanity Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S., Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H., August, Jenny May, Old School Cool, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D, Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J, Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Jason X Rules, Aaron Norman, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Chuck D, Tabitha Thomas, Connie Lingus, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, Rosalind Harniest, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H, Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L, Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M, Ghastly Granddad, Megan and Alexandra Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook, Martina LaForce, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M, Brandon C, Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renlin, Ashley Poe, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz,
Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Stu Corbett, Brick O, Jaden Nicole, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X Bleeple, Joel Miller Apologist, Jaylene Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Renee Hart, Meg Like Sleep, Final Boy, Alani, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, Melissa B., Elena C., Jillian Munford, Evil Chris, Rexterm Raoul, Witchy Poop 19, Brian Avers, Danielle Milton, Instant Horror, Just Give Me One Wish Like Ray J, Skin Deep, Christian Salvatierra, Ashay Guevara, Aaron Mr. Clean Bashard, Hinny Kravitz, Francisco Olmos, Paunchy Cat, Christina Perez, Buddy Boy Mac, Revamped, a Rewatch Podcast, Sarah Coolidge, Show Livia, Film Fiend, Catherine Clark, Brandon Brown, Jessica Hernandez, Camry, Amy Shipley like the Donuts, Jack, Alyssa Muskites, Jennifer Hager, Knox Nocturnal, Byron Pittman, Sophia Mason, Most Unholy S'more, Pear Bear, and Tom Blades. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for giving Podmortem another year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we hope you know that you will always have a home in our hearts.
Yeah.
Aw, yeah.
Until next time.